The waning moon illuminates the foliage with its blue-white light, and stars can be seen in the distance. The boy heard some sounds and turned back frightened, expecting something terrible. A gray wolf with a huge mouth bared its sharp fangs, releasing saliva at the sight of the guy. The boy opened his mouth in surprise, realizing what kind of beast he would have to fight. He grabbed his dagger. The wolf-like monster opened its jaws to attack, its fierce eyes burning red and its fur rising to the ground. The boy is ready to defend and determined to win. Holding the dagger, he looks at the beast. The beast rushes at the guy, who manages to fly back to the tree, defending himself. The protagonist realizes that he has some information about the beast in his head. The predator looks around in search of the guy. His body is covered with muscles, and his eyes glow with a red stripe. From his memory, the guy realizes he's on a planet called Blue Star. Blue Star 2200 lights up in his head. Blue serious eyes contemplate a plan of action. The sky turned black and bright yellow rays fell on the earth, breaking everything in their path. Many spatial rifts appeared all over the world. People scattered from the wreckage of buildings. Through the black sky and flying debris of buildings, a monster's head sprinkled with something like horns can be seen. Countless strong and ferocious monsters emerged from the spatial rifts. The monsters are of different sizes and body shapes, their eyes all glowing and sharp teeth and long tongues peeking out from their mouths. There are snakes and dragons and octopus-like monsters with 3 eyes and a mouth on their heads. Some people discovered that they could absorb a substance, life energy, to transform themselves and gain unusual strength. Such people were called warriors. They developed muscles and weapons. With the help of warriors, humans built bases in the wasteland to survive and fight monsters. The man is brooding. His eyes are not visible, and he is wearing a hood on his head. The guy is surrounded by a mob of zombies wanting to attack him. His shirt is torn. The guy realizes that as soon as he opened his eyes, he was in this world full of martial artists and ferocious creatures. His pupils have shrunk, and his blue eyes are filled with horror at what he's seeing. A monster with a wide-open mouth and sharp fangs ready to attack. The guy's dagger confidently resists the beast's fangs, and it emits an electric pulse. While defending himself, the guy realizes that there is a strong electric current coming from this creature, and if he touches it, he will surely die. But the guy has no intention of giving up and holds his dagger against his opponent with all his might. The guy's strength is enough for the beast to retreat. They fly off in different directions. There is an unusual explosion. The boy looks at the monster through the smoke in bewilderment. He opens his mouth in surprise, still not understanding what happened to that thing. Under the debris of the trees lies the defeated beast, trying to get out. It growls. "This is my chance," thinks the guy, preparing to do the final damage. The sparks from the blow. It didn't work. An ordinary man is unable to slaughter it. Surprisingly, a few painless blows completely drained the guy's strength. The guy sees the beast that got out from under the rubble and realizes that the body he woke up in has no cultivation skills at all. While having a conversation in his head, he ponders that the original owner had clearly flailed and so sent him into the forest with a short blade. But the beast is feeling fine after such a fall and is ready to make another attack. The guy's bewildered face makes it clear that the beast's sharp teeth do not bode well. Continuing his conversation with himself, "I don't want to die. Since I've taken over his life, I'll make sure he lives well." Guy notices that his belly isn't covered in fur and current, which means it's his vulnerable spot. That's where the life force resides. Striking the predator, Guy realizes that his life depends on this blow. But then a girl appears, and on her hand she has a protective glove in the form of a paw of the beast with claws. The battle-weary boy looks at the girl, wondering where she came from. The girl who defeated the beast relaxes and marvels at her victory. She urges the guy to get out of here as soon as possible, calling him Chumo. And then the guy realizes that she is the childhood sweetheart of the original owner of the body. Chen Shiwei? The guy's memory resonates. He's shocked. The picture in his head becomes clear. The parents of both children are sitting there, planning to get those children engaged. The next picture in his head is of the children upset. "Chumo, my parents and yours died during the hunt. From now on, the two of us will depend on each other in this world." The girl holds a rolled-up cloth in her hand and says that the beasts have treasures that can change a person's body. Wishes to help find Chu's powers. The guy waves her off and walks away saying, "Chen Siwei, don't pretend to care. You're not my fiancé." The girl drops the bundle. "If your parents hadn't called mine to hunt, then they would be alive," shouts Chumo at the already upset Chen Siwei. Guy comes out of his memories and is outraged at Chumo's ungrateful behavior towards his fiancé who cares about his well-being. Guy is still reeling from what happened and sees the girl getting sick. She holds her face and realizes that her body has spent too much energy during the previous hunt. Chen Shiwei faints. She starts to fall, but the guy picks her up. The girl regains consciousness. The guy realizes that she, with serious wounds without receiving treatment, rushed to save the original owner of the body. When the guy asks, "Are you okay?" the girl is surprised to realize how long he hasn't spoken to her. The girl quickly regains her senses and says, "I'm fine." When a purple electric sable dies, it emits an odor. Only his kin can smell it. She got up and tells the guy to leave before the relatives come to avenge him. They started to listen and heard some sounds in the depths of the forest. The boy is still sitting there and the girl is ready for another battle. The purple electric sables are approaching the humans in their innumerable numbers. The sables are raring to fight, spewing current and rays from their red eyes. The girl also attacks, shouting at the guy to get out of here. The battle has begun. Chung Si-wei's fist is ready to deal damage to one of the monsters as they jump at her with their mouths grinning. The smoke is purple in color. You can't see anything. Rays of light can be seen from the core of the explosion. Chung Si-wei flies off to the side, screaming in pain. Purple hair flies apart from the speed of the fall. A flock of sables swirled in the air and smoke with no way to get out of there. The guy caught the girl, who promptly flew to the ground from the impact. They hit a tree. The guy squirmed and cried out in pain from the pain of hitting the tree. Chung Si-wei lost consciousness again, and the guy doesn't know what to do. One of the purple sables saw them and slowly goes to attack. Here the guy's dumbfounded by what his already tired eyes see. The exhausted young men are sitting near a tree. They are surrounded by sables on all sides. The girl still hasn't regained consciousness. The boy is holding her and trying to figure out how to defend himself further. As he ponders, the guy realizes that Chen Si-wei's strength has reached the level of a warrior, but it is not enough to resist. He realizes that his body doesn't stand a chance. He wonders why he's dragging others with him and how he can die again. He accidentally touches the body of a purple sable, probing the fur. The boy turns back around and notices a glowing screen on the beast. He is very surprised, pupils dilated. The guy tries to figure out what this thing is. On the bright screen is an inscription. Collection system activated. The inscription continues, "Purple electric sable, a level 1 medium ferocious beast, gathering possible." The guy realizes that he doesn't have time to study this as a mob of sables has already pounced on him. He shouted, "Gathering!" and a screen popped up saying, "Gathering successfully completed. The secondary talent of the thunder attribute has been obtained. Do you wish to use it?" The next phrase on the bright green screen says, "Yes." Unusual things happen to the guy. He clutches at his heart, screaming with strange sensations. A pink ball appears, which with its explosive force scatters everything in its path. The animals scatter in different directions, and in the distance can be seen sables, which were not hit in any way by the blow. The boy feels that he has received a talent of perfection from this creature, and then feeling his power, he is ready for battle with the monsters attacking him. Holding his dagger in his hand, he feels himself creating electrical charges. A battle has begun, with the beasts attacking him all at once. The power that appeared in the guy gives confidence in his victory. Incredible power is unleashed from his dagger, spewing out a stream of purple color. The lad is amazed by this ability and feels the power building up in his body. The sables rush at the boy with incredible speed, not yet realizing what has happened to him after the contact with their comrade in arms. As he ponders over his sensations, the boy realizes that the pain from the wound has disappeared, and it is easier to move. And then the guy notices that the sable attacks are slowing down, and the fur is also no longer indestructible. The guy sees them now in green color. "I can chop these beasts up," shouts the guy with confidence, swinging his electric blade at them. I must. I can defeat the beasts. I can protect Chen Si-wei," the guy continues to say. "Go for it." The guy sets himself up for victory. The battle has begun. The guy is rapidly advancing towards the monsters that are already jumping on him. The guy has plenty of strength and desire to defeat them all, which makes him shout. With a light obedience of his hand, the guy, enveloped by an electric charge, splits the sable into two parts. One by one, the sables fall to the ground defeated. Everything is filled with current beams. The guy finishes this battle and bounces off the bodies, followed by the purple current. He has become very strong, confident, and electric light is released from his eyes. Deep night, dark forest, falling leaves, and defeated sables on the trail. The war is over, and silence reigns amidst the carcasses of sables with sharp fangs. The boy stands in front of his enemies and realizes that he has made it. An arrow of current is also released from his eye. Guy realizes that, not knowing to what extent the power has reached after the fusion of talent, but he has succeeded. Then he notices the screen in front of him and looks questioningly at the sign shown there. It read, "Master's basic strength, 1,527 Jin. The increased strength of the Master's attribute, Thunder, is 3,089 Jin." Observing the electric waves on his hand, The guy realizes that 3,000 Jin is already the middle stage of a warrior's strength. One Sable has woken up and is glaring furiously at the guy. The guy looks at the screen. Just by being reborn, the base strength has already reached 1,500 Jin. After using the power of thunder, it has more than doubled. He feels his hand and feels that his body has become stronger after the talent fusion. Another inscription appeared on the screen. Examining the target. The caption changes. This month's gathering target has been discovered. Collection is possible. Do you wish to continue collecting? So you can collect more than once for the same monster? The boy is puzzled. And he decides to continue collecting, confident that he can defeat absolutely all the monsters. And then a bright scarlet bolt of energy erupts from his hand, and his eyes are full of excitement. His energy combined with the blood of the purple electric sable. The screen popped up. The gathering has been successfully completed. The purple electric sable blood essence has been obtained. Guy realizes that the beast blood essence is the essence of the beast itself. It can accelerate the body's hardening speed even though it's only the lowest level. So he decides to hit another sable, wanting to reach the next level. The screen notes that you can only collect resources for one target per month, but combat skills, talents, etc. can be collected. If that's the case, the sable is very weak next time we need to pick a better target, notes the protagonist. The girl never came to her senses and the guy heads in her direction. The guy decides to take Chen Shiwei home, thinking about the sables, that he should collect meat from them since the resources are exhausted. Slowly coming to her senses, Cheng Siwei begins to call out to Chu Mo. Before she can even open her eyes, she recalls the previous night as she continues to call out to Chu Mo. In her mind, she sees the images of 3 sables pouncing on her, already weakened. She sees herself calling out to Chu Mo, but he shouts that he doesn't need her care. The memories continue, and she sees Chu Mo being clutched by a sable. Next, she remembers being shocked by what she saw. Chu Mo's hand is raised. Her pupils shrinking, she doesn't know if Chu Mo is alive, and whispers his name, hoping he will hear her. Thinking that he is dead, she is struck by the picture. Her body is covered with sweat, and her face identifies horror. Chen Siwei tries to get up and feels a tearing pain in her head. A guy comes over and brings her some food, smiling, asks if she's awake. Chu Mo carefully says that the soup is ready and they can have a snack. There are all sorts of goodies on the table, from fried shrimp to hearty soup. Chen Siwei is surprised. She starts to ask Chu Mo if he really cooked it all by himself and how they even got home. Chu Mo puts a plate on the table and explains that he was the one who pulled them out of the forest. He offers to eat since beast meat is very good for a warrior's body. The girl is stunned by the guy's words and is perplexed, trying to understand how he could have saved them. The boy has already started breakfast, and Chen Shiwei is still pensively trying to remember what happened on the battlefield. The guy eats the food with a wild appetite, asking what the girl wants to hear from him. She sits there with her eyes down, waiting for a more detailed account of what happened. And then the guy decides to calm her down, saying that yesterday they were saved by a passing expedition. The girl starts eating without saying a word about Chu Mo's story. The boy decides she's not listening to him. Then the young man decides to leave the girl alone, informing her that the meat of the beast will help heal her wounds. The girl is very surprised by Chu Mo's concern and looks at him perplexed. She is upset that Chu Mo not only cooked her a meal, but also spoke to her after a long time. She thoughtfully suggests that this is a dream that she doesn't want to wake up from ever. The guy goes into the other room, quietly slamming the door behind him. The guy walked into the weight room. He leaned against the door, sighing in relief. Reflecting, he realized that the relationship between the original body owner and Chen Siwei had reached the freezing point. Twirling the red ball of energy in his hand, he realizes that he can't rely on anyone but himself, and the main goal is to improve his own strength. He pushes the red ball of energy into himself, realizing that he needs to purify himself with the energy of the beast's blood. His capillaries envelop his eye and unusual protrusions appear on his face. The boy screams in discomfort, his body and face covered in incomprehensible voluminous streaks, as if veins wanted to come out. He has fallen to his knees, and around him are red stripes resembling sable tails. He clearly hadn't expected such an unpleasant sensation from the essence. His face became serious in his plans to hone his skills. A month later, the training room was like a warehouse of various things. There were boxes, books, fruit, armor, and even flowers. The boy's muscles had grown. With a confident gait, he walks into the room. His face is calm. His body is covered with muscles that show drops of sweat. A lightning bolt of purple protrudes from his blue eyes. Black hair covers most of his face. Chu Mo stood in a stance, preparing to make a dash. His training has not been wasted. He has excellent form. Just then, he snaps out of his seat, and with the force of a purple current, he flies towards the table with his arms stretched forward. A storm of electrical charges rises around the vase, but the vase does not fall. A petal falls from the blue-colored flower. The rest of the plant doesn't move. The would-be warrior puts up his hand and catches the blue petal with his palm. Tensing his muscles, he realizes controlling electricity requires further practice. He asks the question, "What is my current strength?" Screen. Basic strength, 2,134 Jin. Increased master attribute, Thunder, strength, 4,198 Jin. Examining his body, he rejoices. Basic strength has increased by 600 Jin. The meridians of the entire body have expanded. Smiling, he realized that the amplification brought by the beast blood essence alone was at least 400, which wasn't bad. For the entire month, the guy had been practicing hard. The moments in which he developed himself are shown. Looking back at the other warriors, he realizes that they are more powerful than him with his inferior talent. Water pours from the shower head. The guy continues to ponder that those warriors are progressing at a rate he can't even imagine. Chu stands in the shower. Soap bubbles are flying around, he decides. Within 6 months, he will enter the realm of warriors, thanks to the constant flow of essence. The training room looks like a real gym. Everything is standing in its place. Chen Siwei is practicing. She strikes the knight's equipment with either her foot or her fist. The girl is leaning her hands on her knees, looking at the robot in armor, waiting for the statistics, which is displayed on the robot's face. Just then, on the screen in place of the robot's face, blue-colored numbers popped up. 8,364 E. Chen Siwei looks perplexed, realizing that this strength is not enough for the hunting exam. The two-headed python is an average beast of the second level. A warrior must have at least 10,000 Jin. The girl pondered, visualizing the serpent. Looking at her hands, the girl is saddened, realizes that she is still far from that level of Jin. In front of the girl's eyes, the picture of Chu Mo grabbing Sable again. Then everything went dark. The girl is incredibly upset. Her eyes are downcast. Chen Siwei was overcome with anger. She punched the robot, shouting that she would definitely become a warrior. Thinking of Chu Mo, she does another damage, saying that the heart of a python is able to change a person's body and she will definitely get it for Chu Mo. Houses and stores are illuminated by the rays of the sun. This is the commercial area of Luoyang Security Base. Guy walks through the marketplace, where the responses of vendors can be heard with the notice of martial arts sales and the latest earthworm, the lowest level. The guy looks at the stalls of monster carcass parts, hearing that a level 1 wolf chaser is only worth 3 million. All around the guy, screens pop up, telling him that he can collect, offering to start, and explaining what kind of beast lies in front of him. The guy looks at the floor and thinks that buying the corpses of level 1 beasts is not suitable for him. Their talents and body features are inferior to his. He needs a level 2. The guy is surprised to see a crowd of people in front of him. The peer guys blocked Chu's passage and smilingly asked, "Hey, isn't that Chumo's trash from our first Luoyang Academy?" The most important one shushes them, asking, "You're the trash with no talent or physique, aren't you?" Chumo seriously looks at the most important one, remembering the name, calling him Zhou Qi. The three guys remind Chu that Chi already has 6,000 Jin and to leave Chen alone, because she and their bro are perfect for each other. Zhou Qi lashes out at Chumo, asking, "What's the point of coming here looking for beast materials? Did you have the courage to take part in the hunt?" Kichi grabs Chumo by his blouse, saying that she will let the latter watch Chen Siwei be his girlfriend. Zhou Qi looks at Chumo with a scornful smile. Qi's pupil is red in color. Chumo perplexedly asks Zhou Qi, "Are you bored with life?" Qi lets go of Chu and laughs, telling his bros that living at the expense of a girl is pissed off, and the bro suggests not to waste time on him. Zhou Qi's face became angry, and he suggested Chumo to come back in a month for a hunting exam if he didn't chicken out. The guy realizes that Zhou Qi wants to kill him and needs to start training soon and gain an advantage. As he looks at Zhou Qi's trail, he realizes that he can't target second-level beasts. He needs at least third-level beasts to deal with him. As he continues to search the market, he sees that the levels of beasts being sold are too low. He can't find any level 3 beasts. He touches his hand to his chin thoughtfully, thinking of a solution to this pressing problem. A crowd of people are ahead of Chu, saying that the rushing wind squad is returning. They've killed a level 3 beast and are running to see them. Tied with ropes, an earth dragon lies there. The men surround it and ask each other if it's the beast that raged north of the base. There are 5 men following the beast, and Chumo wonders if these are the warriors from the rushing wind. Chu feels their strong aura. The guy with the headband explains to the men that their squad is very strong, and the captain is at the Warlord Realm stage. Calls for the recruitment of the squad. People examine the beast, saying how cool it is, and the kid yells that he wants to join the squad. The screen pops up. Target, medium level 3 beast, Earth Dragon. Gathering is possible. Willing to start gathering? Overjoyed, the kid realizes he has found what he needs. This month's target has been found. He needs this beast. He looks at the beast with a smile. The rest of the men are amazed by the troop's prey, that they even open their mouths. Some man approaches the beast, saying that this is the first time he's seen a level 3 beast and asks permission to touch it. This is when Chumo realizes that this is his chance to make the gathering. He looks at the beast enthusiastically. The boy touches the beast. Energy gathering begins. Yellow energy lines scatter around. The people are surprised and frightened. A yellow ball gathers in Chumo's hand. Bright rays swirl around. Chumo waits for the end of the gathering. The young warrior walks away. He got a feeling, a strong life force almost seeping into his skin. The people didn't realize what happened. People are crowding around, reaching out their hands to touch this monster as soon as possible. The screen in front of Chu's eyes? Gathering successfully completed. The average enhanced physique has been obtained. Would you like to begin the merge? The guy is ecstatic, realizing that this is something that can change the physique of ordinary people, and he's got it. He stands in the middle of the training room, looks at the palm of his hand, and feels that he is almost ready and can start the fusion. The guy looks at the yellow ball. He thinks, the average physique of an average level 3 beast, I hope it doesn't let me down. The warrior merges. The orb merges with the man's body, and something like an explosion occurs. You can see from the expression on his face how much pain he is in. Chumo falls down. Leaning his hands on the floor, his body reincarnates into something stronger, yellow energy lines hovering around him. It feels to Chumo as if his bones are broken. An incredible pain pervades his body. His face, neck, and chest once again feel a strong pressure, that his veins have popped out and are bulging out very strongly. In the middle of his chest, a yellow ball develops rays of energy in different directions, and the guy feels a warm stream coming from his heart. Damaged bone meridians are being repaired. Broken bones are healing. Chu feels the energy in every bone of his body. After recovery, the body's strength increases. The boy stands, taking in the energy. This state will last until the body is completely reborn. A purple energy line flies out of his eye once again. His pupils are shrunken, and he tries to understand what he's feeling right now. Chumo begins to execute the techniques, enjoying that his body speed has become much better. During the movements, he feels as if his body has no weight at all. He makes a fist strike, and energy flows out from it. As he makes another technical punch in the air, he gathers all the energy in his hand without strain. As it hits the robot, it begins to fall from the incredible force of the blow, breaking the wall. The guy, covered in sweat, finishes his technical punch and looks at the robot with confidence in his abilities. He's happy, realizing that in one punch, power exceeding 10 punches in the past, and physique is the basis for improvement. On the screen, calculating the combat values. Basic strength, 2,659 Jin. Increased strength, 5,270 Jin. He's very happy because his basic strength has increased by 500. Chu is confident that in a month's time, the strength will be comparable to that of a late-stage disciple. Chumo recalls the face of the Qi who is calling for the trial. The guy is sure that if Jochi wants to kill him, Chu will kill him first. First Luoyang Academy is the strongest warrior academy, with the strongest and most numerous faculty. The academy holds regular hunting trials for the students. They will be graded on their performance and rewarded. Today is the academy's test day. Qi is an honored genius. He peaked at 6,000 Jin in 2 months. The students rave about his capabilities, talking about him being promoted to an elite class. The young guys notice Chu Mo and are perplexed as to how he even dared to come to the hunting trial. Jochi noticed Chu Mo and turned around with complete displeasure on his face. The disciples started whispering behind Chu's back, surprised that he had come to the trial without any talents. The guys are surprised that he wasn't sent to the 5th Academy. The other guys discuss that Chen Siwei is constantly defending him, that Chu is lucky to have a bride, but sitting on his neck is a talent not to be envied. The guy hears the gossip and walks over with a serious face. His black hair covers half of his face. As he walks past everyone, he sees Zhou Qi in front of him, who calls Chumo trash. The guys stand in front of each other, and Zhou Qi is sarcastic about making out with Chen Siwei. A crowd of people gathered around the guys, listening intently to their dialogue. Zhou Qi turned around to his brother, who informed him that the teachers had come. Leaving Chumo, Zhou Qi threatens him that he won't be able to come out alive from this ordeal. The 2 serious teachers gather the students, urging them to come up to their number and get into the car. The car is parked outside the academy. The teachers require the students to line up one by one. They will give details in the car. The trucks drive one by one outside the academy. Teachers and students are gathered on board, listening to the mission. Their target is the wilderness area outside the base, an area normally hunted only by warriors. The teacher explains that the area has been cleared of beasts above the second level. An earth dragon has been found there. A radius of 20 miles has been opened up as a hunting area. The second teacher explains that they are with the guards. But if anyone is afraid, let them go back. The students look at them, hiding their emotions behind a serious face, intent on passing the test bravely. As the teacher's monologue continues, the children learn that there will be 3 winners. Third place would get a vial of level 2 beast blood. Second place will receive 2 vials of level 2 beast blood. The angry teacher explains that for first place, the winner will receive 3 vials as well as a bronze level martial arts book. The students are shocked, assuming that the reward is very generous, and only geniuses like Joe Chi can win first place. Teacher Lin informs about the communication talisman. It needs to be crushed to summon help, but one must not relax. The wilderness area is full of dangers. The second teacher informs them that the trial lasts 5 days, and they can leave after the end, and asks if they understood. They shouted with one voice, "Yes!" Unwinding the talisman on his finger, Joe warns his peers that the blood of the beast in the book will be his. And those ask him to keep it all together, but Chi is against it. With a smirk on his face, Chu suggests that Joe's threat is great and needs to be competently disposed of when he goes deep into the forest for the biggest points. Driving into the forest, the children began to discuss the area, calling it a magnificent sight. The teacher looked at his wristwatch and informed the students that the time had come and the academy's hunting test had begun. The disciples got down from the car and began to stretch, preparing for the upcoming battle. Joe Chi instantly took off from his seat, confidently running deep into the forest with a wild desire for victory. The 2 teachers watched Ki, calling him a good sapling, realizing that his family was giving him good resources, and he had no competitors in his class. Preparing to dash, Chu heard the teachers. They began to explain. A normal person wouldn't be able to handle a level 1 beast, and the probability of survival is 1%. Smiling back at the teachers, Chumo asks if it is true that he has a 1% chance of winning. The tall teacher looks at Chumo and feels that something is wrong with him. Teacher Lin feels that the test will be very exciting. As he made his way through the roots of the trees, Chumo began to ponder that plants and beasts can also mutate and grow, but with danger comes opportunity. Continuing to ponder, he decides to test his martial skills on a hunt before he finds Joe Chi. Just then, a dinosaur-like beast appeared behind Chu's back, its eyes glowing with a bright light and its mouth open to attack. At that time, Chumo thought that he still hadn't met a single beast. Turning back around, Chu met the monster's gaze. Its eyes glowed with a blue ray. Instantly grasping the essence of what is happening, Chu manages to jump up, thus ending up behind the beast. The monster flies face down in defeat, long claws digging into the ground. Chu tries to grab the monster's tail and realizes that it is an inferior level 1 beast, an iron dog. The predator turns back around, and Chu ponders that the usual method of hunting a beast with high attack speed and low stamina is to spin around it. Chumo gathers all his strength into a fist and moves purposefully towards the beast, with eyes burning with lust for battle. He makes a high leap, and with all the power of his energy streams, catches up with the beast. A huge purple-colored arrow lightning fast covers the beast, which falls through the rocks. Looking at the beast, Chu reasoned, "After absorbing the blood, I possess over 6,000 jin of strength. They are comparable to a late stage level." The guy sits down across from him, looks and realizes that using the gathering system on a low-level beast is too wasteful. Need to look for another one. As the young warrior ponders the next course of action, the other raptors are already interested in him. Their eyes are glowing red and they are preparing to attack. But Chumo's instincts do not fail him. He sits, waiting for their attack. They hurriedly pounce on the guy from all sides. The guy's face, full of pleasure, looks at the fearsome predators, and holding out his dagger in front of him says, "You're just in time." Chumo decides to let these beasts become the sharpening stone for his dagger. With ease, he defeats all the predators, and they fall down. Chumo is happy with his luck and does not bother to kill these beasts. Dawn begins. The sun appears somewhere in the distance, illuminating the clouds with its bright light. The shadows of the plant neighbors appear on the huge trees. The foliage is covered in the golden color of dawn. Another beast falls to the ground. This time, a snake-like creature prostrates itself on the dry, sandy path of the forest. Standing amongst the defeated predators, the guy analyzes. A medium-sized beast of the first level, a silver-ringed shield-bearer. This is the 7th one. In the pouch are the flasks. There are a total of 5 flasks. The tired Chumo decides that we've had enough today. He pours the flasks into his mouth. Chumo absorbs all the energy states of these beasts into himself, and finally decides to rest. Wiping his mouth, The guy regrets that it can only be reused after 3 days and not on a permanent basis. Last time, the blood yielded 100 jinn. Suddenly, in the background, he heard screams asking for help. He tensed up and listened to understand where the sounds were coming from. One of the students rushes with all his legs towards the protagonist, shouting that there's a giant berserk bear behind him. Running out of the forest, Chu sees one of Ki's brothers, who calls Chu a friend and begs for his rescue. Just then, a berserk bear appears, covered in unusual red fangs on its back and sharp claws on its huge paws. Its eyes glow red, and its mouth is open. The boy tries hard to escape from the predatory beast, stumbles and falls to the ground with cries, "Mama, ah, ah, ah." Chu examines the scene as it unfolds. From the records, Chu recalls the spiritual hive. Due to that, honey shortens the digestive interval between blood consumption, and that hive is where the bear is. Preparing to fight, Chu looks at his disciple. The one asked not to use the bonding talisman, but to unite, kill the bear, and divide the honey of the spirit bees. But Chumo has a firm resolve to get the honey of the spirit bees. He is full of energy, and yellow lightning bolts that resemble beasts' tails are spreading around him. While there is no time to dream of honey, the berserk bear has no intention of backing down. There are red patterns on his body, huge fangs growing on his shoulders, and his eyes glowing. Unable to evade the attack, Chu's familiar is hit by the beast's strong paw and flies far away to the side. Chumo looks at this picture and is puzzled whether the classmate is really gone. He gets really angry, thinking that no one dares to kill people in front of him, and immediately moves to cut the predator in half. He's very angry. His face furiously demands the beast. Striking relentless blows at his opponent, Chu realizes that the berserk bear is infinitely strong and the forces are not equal. It takes electricity to wound him. But nothing is stopping Chu from giving up. He has already struck the bear, intending to overpower it with energy streams. The main character's sharp blade entered the beast's skin, hitting it with an electric projectile. The guy spent all his strength to defeat the beast. From the tension of the battle, he sighs, sinks his blade inside the beast. The beast is unable to refute the power of electricity and opens its mouth in pain. But then something happens. The eyes of the berserk bear are once again illuminated with red rays, and the bear fiercely tries to swing away from the boy who has his dagger firmly clutched in the powerful arm of the beast. Chu tries to hold on and sees that the electricity and pain only made the beast furious. The guy is unable to hold on to the beast's hide and flies backwards. At this time, the bear swings around to inflict the strongest damage to his opponent. While falling, the guy wants to protect his torso from the blow by hiding behind his arms and feels that he will not be able to dodge. The beast throws the guy back powerfully. He hits the ground, shattering it into blocks of stone, flying in different directions. Chumo immediately tries to get up. Getting up from his knees, it seems like he doesn't have any strength left. In berserk mode, his attack power and speed increase. Chu can't get up and feels that he lacks speed. His attack frequency is too low. Looking back at the beast, Chu sees it preparing to crush him. Chu thinks, if it stops attacking, the physical strength will not be able to withstand anything. Again, the guy is thrown back by the bear's paw. He breaks through the stone paths with his body. Landing on his back, he decides to end it and thinks how to create an opportunity to interrupt his attack. Chu stands up and starts to attack the eyes of the beast with his energy purple current. The force of the blow is great, and the beast raises its face, screaming from the unpleasant sensations. Finishing his action, the guy jumps to think about his next moves. The lad swings a second time with the purpose of limiting the action of the berserk bear. Here he furiously jabs the blade into the beast's hind leg, hoping that it will be distracted from the battle at least a little. The bear begins to scream wildly in pain. Its huge maw with sharp fangs lets Chu know that his plan is working. Without stopping to rest his blade on his paw, the guy gathered all the remaining strength from what his face identifies horror. But the beast has no plans to give up and delivers a devastating blow to the young lad. A whirlwind of dust rises from its powerful damage. The lad is still holding onto the blade, but his face makes it clear that his end has come. The guy's face turns white. His eyes start to close, his mouth opens. Blood spurts out, and his hair flies in different directions. His hands lower the dagger, slowly backing away. Bits of the beast's hair are visible in the background. The boy's battle-weary face relaxes in intent to leave this world. Pupils are absent, mouth ajar. A drop of water falls into a puddle, distancing a small part of himself that still manages to fly away above the puddle. The rays of the sun illuminate all the water. A contingency occurs. The boy woke up from the energy produced in his chest. He opens his eyes. Chu lifts himself up and, perplexed, tries to realize what he's sensing. The blood of the beast collected directly is not as pure as the blood obtained from the collection system. Therefore, it is only now being absorbed. The young warrior holds onto his chest. His body's strength is still recovering. The beast does not calm down in any way. Standing over the boy, the bear swings its powerful paw again. After the strike, it once again sprays dust in which nothing can be seen. With renewed vigor, Chumo makes a dash upwards, the electric flow helping him to do so. The blade is raised to make a victorious strike. Chumo gathers his energy in his fist, intending to strike again. Out of anger towards the monsters, he calls the bear a vile brat. Chu pounced at the berserk bear, giving off the maximum amount of energy current. Finally, the bear was defeated. The bear fell to the floor with extraordinary strength. Beautiful white birds began to circle in the clouds above the dense and dangerous forest. Chu clung to his knee. He had no more strength left. The beast had been defeated. Coming to his senses, the guy realized that even a level 1 beast is strong and can render a man defenseless with a single blow. He is alive due to the power of blood. Running along the path at Chu's mind new changes, he realized that speed is crucial. Walking away from the monster carcass, Chu thinks that if he can find a talent for the wind attribute, he will be able to compensate for his shortcomings. The guy wishes to raise his combat strength. Words of killing aura are heard from somewhere. Guy turns around. Chu peeks out from between the trees and notices Zhou Qi flying swiftly towards him. Zhou Qi, with the power of wind, instantly appears in front of Chu's face, looking at Chu arrogantly with a reproachful smile. Chumo did not expect it. His face announces surprise and shock, but it turns out that Zhou Qi possesses the wind attribute. Zhou Qi examines the battle scene. It turns out he heard the commotion and flew over to deal with Chu. Qi believes that Chumo is to blame for what happened. Gathering the energy ball in his hand, Zhou Qi is glad that Chu gave him the opportunity to find him. Zhou Qi thought of a story. A disciple was fighting a bear, and you decided to kill the guy. But here I was passing by, and seeing your cruelty, I massacred you. Zhou Qi's fierce, battle-hungry face looks at the guy with a caustic smile. Qi asks Chu, "What do you think? Would it make a good story?" The protagonist is angry. He silently tolerates his rival's remarks. Qi says, "Actually, there's no grudge between us. It's just a pity that you're Chen Shui's fiancé. You're lucky to have her, otherwise you're in trouble for you're a weakling." Chumo continued to listen to Zhou Qi and agreed with his words. Zhou Qi was surprised at the confirmation of his words, but warns Chu that by agreeing with him, Qi will not pity him. This is when Chumo pulls out his blade, explains to Zhou Qi exactly what he is right about, namely that there is no grudge between them, and that Chen Shui is my fiancé. Strikes a brutal blow from above on Qi, continuing Chu's thought that Qi needs to say goodbye to his life. Due to the wind attribute, Zhou Qi manages to fly aside and Chumo misses with his blade that emits purple light. Zhou Qi is surprised that Chumo has a talent for the thunder attribute. After all, Chumo had been pretending to be an ordinary person the entire time. The opponent is reflected with green light. He deftly bounces away from Chumo, and he is amazed at the speed of the wind attribute talent. Chumo is surprised unsurprised by Zhou Qi's wind attribute talent. In an attempt to strike Chumo, Zhou Qi pulled out his long sword and struck with wind energy. It's hard for Chumo to deal with such speed. The bright light from the sword prevents Chu from reacting quickly. The guy realizes that he can't dodge in time, but he will be able to strike back defensively. The two talents collide. An unusual explosive reaction hovers in the air between the guys. Zhou Qi sees that Chu was able to pierce his wind blade. He is very surprised by this, which can clearly be seen from his facial expression. Chu immediately ran back to the tree, realizing that Zhou Qi's attack would not be able to withstand it. Zhou Qi, perplexed by what had happened, flew past the trees in search of Chumo. Crouching on a thick tree branch, Qi begins to ponder that since he broke Chumo's sky-piercing blade, it means that he is at the late stage of a disciple. Zhou Qi is very angry, not accepting such circumstances. He reminds Chu that the one is a recognized trash that is incapable of cultivating. Chumo can vaguely see through the white tails of smoke, and he informs Zhou Qi, "What you see may not be true." The guy stands up and decides that now is a good time to test his skills after a special training on how to accurately control the thunder talent. Zhou Qi carefully observes Chumo and is amazed at what he sees, for Chu's talent control surpasses even the level of a late disciple. Flying away from his former position, a startled Zhou Qi assures Chu that with the wind attribute talent, he would never hit him. Chu's control over the talent is indeed astonishing. The energy streams that were previously flying in different directions now hold the shape of a ball. But Zhou Qi has no intention of giving up and wishes to inflict damage on Chu, even though he is a late-stage disciple level. Chumo tries to dodge, which requires him to fall to the ground. A wind energy flies next to his face and Chu squints at the bright light. Striking numerous blows with his sword, Zhou is eager to massacre Chu and informs him that they are abyss and he will not live. Chu ponders that even causing small wounds, Chi will crush me. The other students come running and observe the picture of two students fighting. Dodging another blow, Chu continues to ponder that Chi not only has speed, but also reflexes are very high. Decides to seize his talent. Chumo realizes that no matter how he moves, the last point of impact is always near him, and decides to predict the trajectory of the Chi. Chu stands up, defending himself with thunder energy, analyzing where the last trajectory was. The frequency of attacks is about once every 4 to 6 seconds, Chu ponders. Zhou Qi continues to hover around Chumo as he follows his logic, predicting an attack at a certain location. Confident that he is right, Chu tucks the electric bow with an arrow, aiming at the expected point of attack, Zhou Qi. The immensely sized purple electric arrow swiftly travels towards its target point, spewing out a bright light. Seeing the huge arrow in front of him, Zhou Qi realizes that there is no way he can dodge it in time. The arrow confidently catches up with the enemy. In the reflection of his eye, Zhou sees the arrow getting closer and closer. His eye reflects the fear of such a harsh gift. Zhou Qi caught the arrow's strike with his body. He flew back towards a tree and screamed from the painful blow. Zhou Qi was left without both his talent and his life. The disciple's last words were, "Not impossible." After such a battle, Chu tries to catch his breath, happy that he had anticipated the attack successfully. Now the main thing is to make sure that Zhou doesn't get up again. Zhou Qi has the strength left to speak, and looking at Chu, he calls him trash again. Zhou Qi is upset at his defeat. He's disappointed in himself. His eyes are filled with sadness and pain. He can't believe that he lost to trash. A strong winner goes very serious. His jacket is ripped, and in his hand is his legendary blade. The guy's confident, and he's got one more goal in mind. And that goal is to finish off Zhou Qi for good. While Chi Qi shouts for Chu to wait for his return, Chu has already approached Chi Qi and stood in front of his opponent's face. Screaming in fear, Chi assures Chu that he has no right to do this to him. After all, his father is a late-stage warrior, and he will not let Chu go after this. Fearing his demise, Chi tries to negotiate with Chu by offering him something nice. Chu put a boot on his chest. Chumo did not listen to Chi, but only called him noisy. The face is incredibly serious. Chu performed the last action, and Zhou Qi finally fell silent. Chumo's screen wrote, "Target Zhou Qi. Gathering is possible. Do you wish to start gathering?" Chumo stands in front of Zhou Qi's body and agrees to start collecting Zhou Qi energy. Confident, ecstatic at his victory, Chumo collects the wind attribute and realizes that he has achieved his goal. Chumo sets up to try out his new talent. His body begins to glow a bright green color, his face as serious as ever. His eyes began to sparkle like never before. His pupils are shrinking. He's ready for action. One moment later, the protagonist is already in a different place, and behind him there is only a beam from the wind energy flow. Chumo continues to move around, marveling at how fast he has become. Following Chumo's movements, only streaks of green color remain near the trees. The guy is marveling at his new talent. His body seems to merge with the wind. The speed is more than 3 times faster than before. As he performs various body movements, the guy feels that his body control and flexibility have improved. He moves lightning fast from tree to tree. He does it easily and effortlessly. Making another jump, the guy wants to land on the ground. Everything around him lights up in a poisonous green color. That's wind energy. As he lands on the ground, he stops beside Zhou Qi's body. Chumo feels the incredible power of his body, and he clearly likes it. Chumo's pupils emit a heavenly light, bright yellow-colored tongues fly near his hand, and the guy is happy to realize that the wind attribute is very powerful. Chu picked up a book and reads, bronze level, sky-shattering blade martial skill. Pondering if the skills that Zhou Qi had acquired could be collected, Chu considers the orb, realizes that the gathering system is too powerful, and the reward in this challenge is only a bronze-level book. Chu recalls that the destructive Neo Blade has 3 levels. If one mastered the first level, one could cover the blade with a layer of light. Imagining the key in front of him making the strikes, Chu continues to analyze. At the 3rd level, it's almost a solid blade of light. Looking at Zhou Qi's blade, we can see that it's only level 1 because it was glowing lightly, although its power was not insignificant. Continuing to ponder, Chu decides that if one cultivated to the 3rd level, the attack range could reach 30 meters. That's not a bad skill. A screen suddenly appears. Chumo stares in surprise, waiting for the new information to arrive. The screen popped up. It has been discovered that the collection target has a special item that can be collected. Do you wish to start collecting? Yes? No? Questioningly looking at Zhou Qi's body, the guy decides to collect the special item. The screen announces that the collection has been successfully completed and the treasure map has been obtained. Examining the scroll, the guy is shocked that the collection system can even collect such things. Throwing the scroll in the air, the guy has a great desire to see what special item is hidden on this map. The map reveals a picture that shows a small mountain. It turns out to be the lair of an earth dragon. The map details the location of the lair. The screen says, 10,000-year-old spiritual remains have been found in the lair. There are other treasures there as well. The boy is surprised after all, this treasure, which, according to rumors, improves the physical data of the warrior. Chu decides to visit the lair to harvest the entire treasure. Behind Zhou Qi is the Zhou family, which Chu can't compete with now. His father is a very serious man. Looking at the screen, Chu decides that he needs to leave, because he has been here for a long time, and no one can know what has been going on here and who massacred Zhou Qi. Chu makes a plan that after disposing of the body, he will look for honeybees. Then he will find a quiet place to cultivate. Before that, we need to see what else Qi has. Full moon. From deep within the hollow of the tree, a bright yellow-colored light can be seen. The guy has found a hive of spirit bees. He collects the flowing honey to his thermos, marveling at how unusual some sort of bee formation looks. The remnants of the sweet honey drip into a 250-milliliter gray thermos. Guy looks at how little honey came out and realizes that he will be able to keep the body growing for no more than 10 days. The guy settles down on the ground and counts his loot. Spirit bee honey, 21 bottles of beast blood, 6 bottles from the berserk bear. Of the rest of the loot, there are 8 bottles from the classmate and 7 bottles from other beasts. But there was nothing on Qi's body except for the blade and the purse. The guy examines the purse and realizes that its texture slightly resembles the skin of a ferocious beast. Remembering what Qi looks like, Chu notices that during today's meeting, he didn't have a blade at all. Where did he get it from? Wonders Chu. Chumo decides to open the bag and inject the life energy. His face is full of interest. A bright heavenly light abruptly pours out from the open purse. Rays of this light spread out in different directions. An unusual cloud opens up above the guy, within which are countless low-level primary stones and 12 bottles of beast blood as well. The guy is delighted with his find, for it is a storage bag as expected from the Zhou family. Even warlords can't afford such a bag. Guy realizes the energy of the stones can be absorbed by the warriors and used as currency. Stones are a special ore powered by life energy. Chumo shouts, gathering, and all the treasures and loot are gathered into this storage bag. The storage bag is tied up. It is now incredibly precious. An overjoyed Chu realizes that not many people of Luyang Township can afford such a thing, and decides that this item cannot be flaunted. Opening a thermos of honey, the guy intends to try the effects of the honey of spiritual bees on himself. While taking the honey, bright lines emit from his chest representing a flower. The guy's calm. Taking the honey is not like the intense pain of absorbing the blood of a beast. It's as if warm jets run through his entire body, soothing every tiny wound. Immersing himself in recovery, the guy completely relaxed to take in all the properties of the spirit bee's honey. So pleasant sensations enveloped the young man that he closed his eyes. The sensations of pleasure are shown on the guy's face. The power of honey gives incredible healing. The lad is filled with the properties of honey and opens his eyes. His pupils are small and his eye color is heavenly. In a moment, a bright yellow border formed around the pupil, from which a streak emanated in both directions. The processing of the blood due to the honey takes a couple of hours rather than 3 days, and the guy enthusiastically realized that a constant supply would allow for plenty of blood to be consumed. Holding the bottle in his hand, the lad decides that he needs to improve himself as much as possible, and at dawn sets out to explore the lair of the earth dragon. Flying up above the trees, Chu considers the screen. According to the system, the earth dragon's lair is directly ahead. From below, the system shows. Chumo is surprised he got there so quickly. Chu lands near a mountain. A cave can be seen below with darkness inside. Must be here. Chu whirlwinds down just before the entrance to the cave. Guy reasons that this place has already been explored and cleared, and no one would have guessed that right under the committee's nose, the Zhou family had hidden treasures. The guy has been walking down for over 10 minutes now and still hasn't reached the end. The cave turned out to be quite deep. The system alerted with a notification that the right wall was hiding treasures. Chumo questioningly walks over to the wall and begins to touch it. His fingers delve deeper into the blue liquid. The guy is surprised at the system's ability after all. It might not be a natural coating, but a concealment technique. Reaching inside, he passes the concealment technique in the form of blue waves of unusual consistency. Here the guy finds a whole pool of unusual liquid called 10,000-year-old spiritual remains. The liquid is glowing incredibly bright. There's a lot of liquid, and it is under the stone path. The guy notices an unusual balloon, assuming it is a byproduct of the spiritual remains. Examining the balloon, the lad decides to investigate later. He has heard that where treasures of heaven and earth are born, there are accompanying spirits. Picking up the liquid in his hands, the guy tries to figure out what to do with it. What the book says about it. Doesn't know. He assumes that it is necessary to impregnate the skin. Remembering himself as a child, Chu intends to jump into the water. In a split second, the kid sheds his clothes and jumps in screaming, 10,000-year-old spiritual remains, bombshell! The glowing blue light of the water gives the kid a strange sensation. It seems to the guy that the remains contain the emotions of life and death creatures, the souls of mammoths, flowers. All this represents turbidity and sadness in a young man. Over the millennia, merging into some powerful force full of martial energy, fearsome creatures in the form of fish and dinosaurs are recalled. The energy of lions and tigers in combat is felt while dipping in these remains. The guy comes out of the transforming into something better, water, feeling that this energy is very heavy, bloody, but infinitely alive. With new skills from the past, Guy is determined to win this hunting challenge. Guy leans his hand on the ground with the intent to dive into the remnants once more. With the force of the wind, at incredible speed, the guy flies into the liquid. Once underwater, the guy is perplexed as to what happened and looks questioningly at his hand, illuminated by the green light of the rays. He's out of the water. The energy flow of the wind attribute is around him, and it seems to be completely embedded in the guy's body. He can barely feel his weight. Chumo opened the system. Property check. High cultivation physique. High thunder attribute talent. High wind attribute talent. The guy turns around at the spiritual remnants, happy that the attributes had improved by 1 level. After all, 4 bottles of blood only increased the strength by 500. Knowing that the remains are only effective the first time they are used, it's better to gather some to spare, Chu decides. He left the rest in case others need it. The guy, satisfied with his achievements, happily juggles the bottle with 10,000 years of spiritual remains. Mary Chu decides to try to advance to the next level. There are 3 days left until the end of the challenge, the lad recalls. 3 days later, the teachers gather the ones who came out, calling for them to line up and summarize the results. Teacher Lin hands over the prizes to the winners and announces the results. Mei Guantao, 13 points. The second teacher stares emotionlessly at the children. A crowd of students have gathered and are listening attentively to the results. Yuan Hanyi, 6 points. Kui Ning, 21 points. Lu Chen, 19 points. One kid shouts out frustratedly that he did very poorly in the test. Another student hopes to come in second place with his 677 points. The people are discussing that definitely Zhou Qi took first place. One of the guys notices a person coming and is surprised. Chu Mo is someone no one expected to see. Everyone was sure that he wouldn't survive in the wild territory. The guy is serious and doesn't pay attention to the gossip of the people around him. Chu Mo walked over to the table and began to open his backpack of loot, turning to the teacher to look at his grades. The teachers didn't expect to see such variety in a guy's backpack. They were confused. The tall teacher thought about something, drops of sweat appearing on his face. Teacher Lin counted 103 points, but the youths are outraged and don't believe that Trash Chu could have collected that much. They assumed that he was cheating. Looking at his watch, one teacher shouted that time was up and the test was over. The girls were upset that Zhou Qi hadn't returned and hoped that he hadn't gotten into trouble. Assuming that Chu Mo was collecting the leftovers after Zhou Qi, the strict teacher asked Chu Mo if he had encountered Zhou Qi in the jungle, to which Chu replied that he had not. He does not believe Chu and clarifies whether the latter is not lying and where he got these animal materials. Chu Mo explains that he hunted the beasts himself. He has a serious look on his face. Lin intervenes and tries to calm his colleague down, saying that Chu Mo would not have been able to kill Zhou Qi on his own. The stern teacher agreed with Teacher Lin and decided to announce that the first place in this hunting trial goes to Chu Mo. A satisfied Chu Mo enjoys his victory while the classmates around him can't believe what they heard. The teacher informs them that there is a danger in the forest that could have taken Zhou Qi, and it is impossible to stay here. The reward will be presented at the academy. While Chu Mo was climbing into the truck, he was called away by the strict teacher. The teacher decided to warn Chu that after the award, he better not go out. After all, the Qi family would not believe that he was not involved in Zhou's death. Inside the Zhou family home in Luoyang Base, it was clearly not a peaceful night. The head of the family, Zhou Cheng, clarifies the information, surprised that his son died in a simple academy, and asks if his body has been found. The Zhou family's early-stage warrior master, Kei Nian, talks about the prize fighter and the former clashes between his son and Chu over a woman. The face of the head of the Zhou family changed to a fierce face. He is perplexed at how a worthless man could win. Chi father wrapped his arms around the snow leopard's head, as he gritted his teeth, sensing his master's emotions. "Nonsense!" shouts the angered Zhou Chi father. Flashes of anger overpowered him. The beast flies away from his master's hand, and Master K. Nian kneels down, asking his master to calm down. "Zhou Cheng, there is a demon lurking in everything abnormal. Quickly bring him to me. He might be related to the secret treasure that Zhou Qi was supposed to find." It was late evening. The lights in the 5-story houses are no longer on. Everywhere is quiet and peaceful. Chen Siwei has returned home with a bag. She looks around the room questioningly. The girl has a look of surprise on her face as she notices that no one is home. The girl puts the bag on the table and sees plates of food. She is struck by Chu's behavior. He prepares food every day as if he were a completely different person. The girl came to the hall hungry. As she intends to reach the warrior realm in a month at the trials, she needs to get the heart of a 2-headed python. Then she notices pink marks on the board. She stares in surprise and wonders when she had time to use the electric current, because that's what those marks are from. The moon has risen over the city. The sky is studded with stars. Clouds drift away. Something's happening in the abandoned area outside the base. The screen reads, "Calculating combat values. Master's core strength 9,999 Jin. Strength 19,700 Jin." Looking at the information on the screen, the guy ponders that there was no improvement in the past 10 days. But after the tests, the strength had risen significantly. Chumo had reached the peak of a disciple. "We need to overcome the narrow space to enter the warrior realm," the boy decides. But for a change, he needs to practice the bronze-level technique Luo Yan Step. The book is the reward for the hunting challenge. At the beginning of the technique, concentrate most of the energy on your feet and concentrate the rest throughout your body. The shoe shone with a bright light. Practicing the new movements, the guy's feet move with palpable energy. "South, southeast," the guy says to himself, and one of his legs drops off. The guy falls over, and it comes to him that not only does he need to control his life energy, but he also needs to watch his breathing. He starts to move around and realizes that the movement of his whole body and even his heartbeat is accelerated. A normal warrior shouldn't be using this. The guy relaxes and ponders that with the wind attribute talent, it's like this technique was made especially for him. He's found a little trick. Using his skills, guy flew upwards, leaving a swirl of dust behind him. Instant short-range movement combined with the shadow effect in real combat will definitely have a good effect. The guy confidently maneuvers from one place to another. The practical training is going well. "One more time," guy shouts to himself involvedly, hopping around the abandoned area. The crescent moon has risen even higher, clouds surround it, lights are on in all the houses. Out of breath, the guy finishes practicing, deciding that enough is enough for today and it's time to go home. Just then the guy hears some rustling and starts to listen, looking around. The young man stands at the sight of a stranger who has landed not far from him. A serious-looking man of age asks the guy's name. He informs him that the master invites him to the banquet and that his invitation should not be disregarded. Chu does not want to continue the conversation, saying that he does not know and does not want to know him any master. But the stranger insists, saying that the master is Zhou Cheng. He has the strength of a late-stage warrior. He is influential and can become a warlord in the future. The boy realizes, remembering Zhou Qi, that Zhou Cheng is his father, and it is logical that his family has their eyes on him. But Chumo is still not going to go with this man, informing him that if Zhou Cheng himself comes after him, he might consider his offer. When asked by Chu who he even is, the man gets angry, calling the man a brat and ignorant, and starts threatening to bring him to the Lord himself. The boy sees the man flying at him and prepares to dodge. During his flight, the master flies through the boy. He just vanished like a fog. Illuminated like a ghost, Chumo holds Zhou Qi's sword and is ready to fight the stranger. The man is amazed by the guy's actions and is surprised that the technique was unusual. According to his information, Chumo could not have cultivated before. The man is in utmost shock upon noticing the lad's Mr. Zhou Qi sword. Chumo stands in a stance, waiting to be attacked. His eyes are serious. The guy has no intention of giving up. Repeating his jump on the boy, the man informs him that his master was not mistaken, and Chu is bound to Zhou Qi and his doom. While Master Kei Nian was catching up with the young warrior, he has already changed his location and intends to make a strike to the enemy. The boy pushes off from the pillar and begins his defensive attack on the man. While the old man flies to the ground, he turned around and noticed Chu Mo, who was already flying at the one from the pillar. His face shows fear and shock at the same time. The master turned around and asked the guy, "Sky-destroying blade? How could you—" The guy looks at the old man snidely and repeats, Sky-destroying blade, level 1. The man is enraged. His body flies upwards and starts transforming into something fiery. The guy looks at what's happening. The man has an attribute to the fire vulture claw talent. There are fiery streams of energy flying around the bird. Intending to jump, the man says, "Boy, how do you know young master's sword technique? What did you do to him?" Making a defense with his energy flows, the boy suggests that the master himself ask Joe Chi what he did to him. Making an attack on the boy, the man wonders how his technique can be stronger than that of the young master. They have the same talent. Hitting the boy's protective shell, Master Ke Nian threatens that the boy will confess everything under torture. Chumo defends himself with streams of energy and holds up his sword in case the master penetrates the shell. Chu ponders that the enemy has an early stage warrior, fire attribute, but he gives into it. The guy's talent has reached the highest level, so there's nothing to fear. The man is very angry. With all his might, he wants to break through the guy's defense. The man sees a gap and threatens the guy that he's about to break through the knife wave. The angry man manages to break through the defense, and he flies with fire waves right at the guy, who is looking at it closely. But the guy was not surprised at all, but rather expected these actions, enjoying the process of their battle. The guy's hand was completely covered by the purple waves of the electric projectile. With his thunder power, Chu rests his hand on the face of Master Ke Nian, who had already guessed about the thunder attribute. The guy drives the man into the ground and electric waves erupt around him. The power of the purple electric thunder flow develops waves all around the abandoned area. Guy finishes straightening up the man, closing the currents in his hand, and examining the man to see if he is conscious or not. Guy senses that there is no point in parrying with him at the warrior's early stage. His strength should be comparable to that of a middle or late stage warrior. It is logical to realize that Zhou Cheng is targeting Chu and is very likely to attack him personally. After recovering from the battle, the boy thought that he would like to move from apprentice to the realm of warrior as soon as possible. As he continues to ponder, he thinks that he might be able to push the limits of his combat abilities if he goes into the wilderness. This is the warrior supply hall, a must before heading out on a hunt. They trade materials and information, may accept assignments for rewards. A young warrior has come to the supply room to pick up some mixtures, weapons, and survival items to train in the wilderness. Looking around, he decides to buy everything he needs to survive in one store. The boy stops outside the store. Jade House belongs to the famous Jade Business Alliance. A young female consultant comes up to inquire about what the guy wants. He informs her of his plans to visit the wilderness area and needs provisions. And the girl starts talking about their store's assortment, from first aid supplies to all sorts of wilderness survival gear. Looking around at the sounds, the guy buys the goods and asks about the cost. The girl is surprised that at his young age, the boy is already a strong warrior. The young girl asks the warrior for help, promising to pay. He refuses because to defeat a two-headed python, you need a middle-stage warrior. The girl is upset. She was an orphan, then she was adopted, and now her mother is sick and needs the python's heart to cure her. The warriors are afraid to go after the serpent. The boy thinks that it's not difficult to defeat the beast of the second level, and it lives on Mount Dashu where he is going this time. He decides to help. Chumo approaches the girl to ask if her task is still on. The girl is surprised by his question and clarifies if he is definitely going to take the assignment. Taking the little girl's hand, the guy confirms his intentions to help her. The girl thanks him and Chu tells her to go home and wait for his message. A crowd of people gather and start discussing the guy's words, assuming that the guy just decided to calm her down. Far behind is a girl standing with a woman. The woman asks the young girl if that guy needs to be stopped. The girl decides that since someone has taken the case, they won't have to do anything. The woman says the guy has a good temperament for taking on this thankless task, which is rare in their time. The pretty green-eyed girl agrees with the woman. She smiles sweetly. 2 days later, wilderness territory, Mount Dashu. 20 miles from Luoyang is a safe area where the base's students are being tested. The boy moves towards Mount Dashu. It's a wilderness area about 100 miles away. The best place to improve training and search for materials. A second-level lowly beast, the Iron Mantis. In half a day, the guy fought dozens of them. The effect of training is obvious. Breaking the mantis into 2 pieces, the guy reasoned that with the increase of the thunder attribute talent, its strength could reach 50,000 jin. The mantis wants to attack the guy. Sky-shattering blade had broken through to the second level, and Luo Yan's step was on the verge of breaking through. The mantis wants to pierce the warrior with its sharp paw, but the warrior dissolves before receiving devastating damage. Deftly sidestepping the beast, Chu splits the mantis with his second-level sword. The guy's plan is to break through to the warrior's realm, and afterward, Start searching for the two-headed python, a tall building with a cone-shaped roof. This is the first Luoyang Academy. The people are gathered waiting for the meeting. People are asking questions. Will the dean come? Will there be an announcement about the start of the academy's main trials? The three guys are looking angrily at what's going on. The students are whispering, "Who are those people? It's best not to mess with them." The dean of the first Luoyang Academy, Shen Jin, the master patriarch, came out, informs that the trials will be different from previous years. He continued, "Luoyang Base will join forces with Chungfeng Base. There will be dual trials, access not only to our students, but also to other academies and schools." The students discussed that the scale of the trial is huge and there are many rewards offered for the dual trials, but they are also much more dangerous. The dean continues, informing them that the test will be on the outskirts of Mount Dashu, so they are allowed to freely form teams or opt out of the exam. The screen shows the rewards. There's storage bags, martial arts skills, beast blood and primary stones, and more. The students gather and marvel at the number of rewards. The dean explains that there will be 10 winners, either teams or individual participants. Chen Siwei hears the guys' opinions that they are taking the challenge, they should get the reward, and that there are third and fourth level beasts out there. The girl pondered. She is glad that Chumo did not come. She has reached the warrior realm and plans to enter the top 10 and get the python heart for Chu. At the shouts of the people gather. Chen Siwei turned around. Someone is pushing. The guy with the saw appeared as Xu Guang, Cheng Feng's base genius. He says that Luoyang is getting empty because no one wants to fight and others are scared at all. Xu Guang's friends talk about his talents, supreme sword art, strength at the level of a mid-stage warrior. They urge everyone to be happy for him. The students of Luoyang Academy respond to the boys' words that they are trash by saying that at the test they will learn what it means to spew misfortune out of their mouths. Xu Guang smiled evilly in response to those Luoyang Academy guys' words. Spewing out a red energy stream, Xu makes a strike towards the Luoyang disciples. They have no time to do anything, realizing that the attack is sudden. Everything around them is covered in gray smoke. Nothing can be seen and it's unclear what happened. At the point of Guiyang's punch, Chen Shiwei put her strong arm up, clarifying the attacker's name and reminding him that fighting was forbidden in the academy. Seeing Chen Siwei, the guy was surprised that there were beauties like her living in the middle of nowhere. A crowd of students from different academies came to see the actions of the students, and a girl came and dispersed them all, demanding that they stop and prepare to leave. Leaving, Xu Guang turned to Chen Shiwei, calling her a beauty, announced that they would meet on Mount Dashu. 3 days later, late at night, rumbling sounds could be heard on Mount Dashu. Surrounded by beasts, Chumo wipes his lips from drinking blood and did not realize where the thundering sounds were coming from. He listened and realized that the sound of thunder was rumbling throughout his body. Something is happening in the body. Yellow-colored energy waves are spreading out in different directions. The guy drinks another bottle. He feels that he is close to a breakthrough. Noticing that seeing him like this, the beasts are advancing again. Wiping his lips again, Chu reasons that the moment he breaks the barrier of the warrior realm, energy builds up in his body. The empty bottle shatters on the ground, and the guy continues reasoning. It's impossible to get rid of this energy by himself, so he needs the guys. And the battle with the beasts continues. Chu Mo is incredibly strong and tackles all the beasts by himself. Various beasts clash with Chu Mo and fall to the ground, defeated. Warrior Chu Mo exerts his talents to defeat each and every beast. Lightning erupts from his sword, destroying everything in its path. A powerful electrical charge of thunder energy could be seen from afar. The academy student Luoyang has dealt with all the predators. There are a lot of bodies around him. The boy sees everything foreign coming out of his body. The change cleanses his entire being, revealing a new level. The screen calculates the combat values. Core strength 17,770 Jin. Attribute strength 71,235. Chu thinks, I have broken the base strength limit of 10,000 Jin. I have become a warrior. After attributing attributes, I can fight mid-stage warriors. He looks away. He thinks that he doesn't have to be afraid of Zhou Cheng now, as he is almost able to defy him. The guy walked towards the python's habitat while practicing, but he didn't expect to encounter it much earlier. Looking at the two-headed python, the lad realizes that he was attracted by the noise of the breach. In front of Chu, a second-level medium beast, the two-headed python appeared. It has red eyes like all the other beasts. The guy thinks that with such an aura, the python is clearly close to the highest second level, and it's comparable to a late-stage warrior level. The python is many times larger than the boy. Something resembling blue fire was emanating from its mouth. The boy didn't expect such power. While the first head is spewing something, the second head comes at the boy to eat him. But the guy's talents make themselves known, and he deftly evades this head. Pushing off the sharp fang, he moves on. A blue cloud appears behind the lad. He looks around and assumes it's poison. Chumo swiftly runs away from the python. He realizes that it is a poisonous mist that paralyzes a person. The guy triggers the wind attribute and the Luoyan step. He sees that both heads are working in sync. Each attack forces a move to the other head. That's when the serpent manages to rip off a piece of Chu's clothes. The guy clearly didn't expect this and realizes that the one is fast enough. In the deep, dark forest, the two-headed python is rapidly heading after the young warrior. Using his attributes, the lad tries to escape from this powerful beast with dangerous venom. He realizes that he can no longer waste energy, and accordingly, it is no longer possible to dodge. He needs to concentrate the energy in his legs. The guy uses the residual energy from breaking through to the warrior realm to use the second level of Luoyan step and attacks. The beast furiously throws itself at the guy. The guy's face hits the ground, but the guy's not there anymore. The two-headed python screams and tries to find the warrior, to which Chumo says, "Have you lost something?" Suddenly, one head of the python falls, and the other head turns around and doesn't understand how this happened. With a blade piercing the wind, the guy finishes the battle with one of the heads. The serpent opens its mouth in pain and makes some sounds. A red beam comes out of its eyes. The python moves its head, spews green venom out of its mouth. The guy turns around and looks at it, realizing he made a good bet. The guy managed to break through to the second level of the Luoyan step. The speed of the flash has doubled. The python's eyesight won't be able to see what he's doing. He's satisfied and says, "I'm invisible to him now, and I can easily dodge his venomous attacks." With a final blow to the python's second head, Chumo offers to eat the sword. The tip of the sword swiftly moves towards the beast's head, glistening as it moves. Finally, the second head breaks off from the rest of its body and the python becomes headless. Now the guy can lower himself to the ground to recover from this battle. The guy exhales and thinks, "I'm just scared." Luckily, Luoyan's step broke through or I'd be a mess. Gathering the remains, he sees that 20 vials of blood have come out. Leather is needed for protective equipment. Bile is useful for the body, and the blood will give to the girl. Chu grinned, for he fought for a reason. The guy knows that one higher level 2 beast is worth 100 lower level 2 beasts. The guy wants to go back. To enter the warrior realm, he needs to get some techniques from the supply room. Here's a girl's voice. She is screaming for help. 2 purple sables run after the wounded girl. She cries out for help. Chumo swiftly overtakes the sables to protect the girl. The girl is clearly shocked by the appearance of the warrior. Her face is in tears. She has no hope for help. Chumo slays the monsters, the girl watching from the sidelines. She is frightened as she watches them. The girl sits down near a tree to recover and starts to ask her savior if he is Chen Siwei's fiancé. Chu finished struggling. He turns around to the girl and asks, "Aren't you Du Jin from the elite class? What are you forgetting here?" The girl is puzzled and assumes about something related to the elite class. Just then, the girl grabs onto Chu and pitifully tells her that they ran into the wolf chaser king and Shu Guang. Chumo takes the girl's hand, and the girl yells that they need to rescue Chen Siwei immediately because she is in great danger. Here, Chumo is wary and clarifies what happened to Chen Siwei. When the girl verified that it was Chumo, she was surprised because he had no powers, but he defeated the beast, so he became a warrior. Chumo did not expect to see such a shocked face on the girl's face and assumed that he had scared her. The guy steps away from Dujin and asks if she's okay. On her agreement, he starts to ask what happened to Chen Siwei after all. The girl tells him, after uniting the bases, a pack of wolf-chasing wolves appeared at the trial, and when the girls were gathering wind spirit herbs, those attacked. The guy doesn't understand who he's talking about at all and questioningly interrogates the girl about the information she said. From Dujin's memories, Sen asked me to run to the other members of the class to help her, and she was injured as I was leaving. The girl begs for urgent help for Chen Siwei and tells her that she is about 10 miles to the southeast. The guy leaves and sends the girl to find the rest of the elite class. Swiftly, Chumo goes to help the fiancé of the original owner of that body. The girl stares in the guy's wake, with full confidence that he will definitely help Chen Siwei. She felt relieved at the sight of Chumo. Chen Siwei is strong enough and has defeated all of Shu Guang's bros. They are standing opposite each other. She has energy gloves and he has a big saw. The girl is determined to defeat her opponent. She looks at him angrily. Shu Dai suggests the girl to follow him. After all, Luoyang base is considered a complete trash, and she beat his guys well. But the girl is very angry. She calls the guy a lowlife who takes advantage of people. He has nothing to do with genius. The guy just mocks the girl, calling her ridiculous. The girl takes a swing at the guy in an attempt to finally overpower him. The guy realizes this. He's very confident and calls the girl stubborn. A fierce battle ensues. There are tongues of energy streams coming from both students. The Wolf King is very serious and wants to show the girl the gulf between them. The girl uses all her powers to do damage to her opponent. Both warriors are determined to win. They are very strong. The students make the most of their abilities. The girl takes a blow from her opponent and falls to the ground exhausted. She tries to regain consciousness. She's all bruised and in pain. The guy looks at the girl, informing her that he feels sorry to see her looking very weak. Chen Siwei has to listen about her last chance to come to his side. The girl looks at the wolf-chasing king angrily. You can see the hatred in her eyes. Shulei explains that after awakening his talent for supreme sword techniques and becoming the #1 in Chengfeng base, no one could reject him. Therefore, the guy decides not to persuade the girl and send her to rest. Chen Siwei is upset, not believing that her life will end now. She's disappointed in her abilities and prepares to humbly retire from life. Shu Li swings his sword and enthusiastically proclaims victory over the girl. Just then, Chumo arrives and demands that he take his hands off Chen Siwei. The girl and Xu Guang are surprised at this unforeseen turn of events. The battle of the strongest has begun. Both warriors are quite strong and the outcome is impossible to predict. An evil expression accompanies Xu Guang's face. He intends to win absolutely everyone who stands in his way. From the power of Chumo's sword, Xu Guang does not have the strength to stay still and rolls backwards, tugging his shoe against the ground. His talents are not enough to resist his opponent. The red-haired guy can't resist Chumo's strength. Shulei's hands are showing blood because Chumo's strength and speed is unbelievable. The guy begins to ponder. I am at the middle stage of a warrior. How could you push me away? Who are you? Where in Luoyang would such a person come from? Just then, a purple dragon of unbelievable size announces itself behind Chumo. Chu stands in front of his opponent, showing off his talent, and tells Xu Guang that he's talking too much. The girl is in a pre-fainting state. She hears a slightly familiar voice. The girl tries to look at the guy, seeing a guy in ragged clothes and a blade in his hands in front of her. But the guy has no intention of giving up and displays his supreme swordsmanship, the attribute of ice. Observing what is happening, Chumo commendably assesses his opponent's capabilities and decides to use the Luoyan step. Behind him, the guy notices Chen Siwei and realizes that if he dodges, she will get hit. Chumo activates his attributes to overpower the restless opponent. The battle continues. Chen Siwei stands behind and watches the scene, and Xu Guang releases crystals towards the Luoyang Academy students. A large crystal hits Chen Siwei's face and she flies backwards, receiving tremendous pain from the impact. Chumo turns around and sees what happened to the girl. She falls to the ground and loses consciousness. The guy is incredibly angry and threatens Xu Guang with swift retribution. Not paying attention to the scattering of crystals, Chu swoops at Shulei. He tries to stay on his feet, but he fails. Being puzzled, Xu Guang doesn't understand how a Luoyang disciple can not only have the talent of a late warrior, but even a realm warrior. The same is true for Xu. The red-haired fellow can't believe how Chumo can kill a self-similar. A sword tip with an electric energy charge appears right in front of his nose. Xu got tired of talking and decided to explain that with the gathering system, talents are added to the base strength, so nothing is impossible. A bright month illuminated the peaks of the Dashu Mountains. Numerous stars scattered in the sky. Chumo, relieved after fighting with Xu Guang. He puts away his sword and rejoices in his victory. Chumo notices Xu Guang's storage bag. He decides to look in it. In the bag, the guy had tens of thousands of low-level primary stones and very many ferocious beast materials. Chu decided to give the bag to Shiwei so that she would achieve good results in the trial. Decided to get rid of Shu's body and carry his friend to a safe place. The guy reaches his hand towards the body of the enemy. He wishes to check what attribute of talent Xu Guang has so that he can draw it for himself. The screen showed, gathering successfully completed. A supreme sword art has been obtained, willing to begin the fusion. Morning had begun. The sun had awakened, illuminating the entire forest with its bright rays. The lad started training from the morning, practicing his new skills. The young lad can feel the breathing, rhythm, and even the aura of the sword. The sword feels like it's alive. Then he hears some sounds behind him and turns around, preparing for another battle. The guy shows Shulei's sword art on the purple electric sable. Crystals are flying in different directions. The sable crystallized. The thunder sword of Wild Cold Sorrow collected from Xu Guang is useful. The ice attribute is due to the sword skills. The guy looks at the screen. It shows another battle skill, silver level. Chu is surprised that due to the gathering system and the combination of the two talents along with the basic strength, the influence surpasses that of Xu Guan. Chu's data, 18,290 Jin, strength of thunder, wind attribute 75,314 Jin, high physique, skills, supreme talent of sword wielding / thunder / wind attribute, Step Luo second level, sky-shattering blade bronze level, medium level thunder sword. The guy decides to go back. After all, the cultivation effect is good enough, but the sword is already worn out and it's time to buy a new one. Chumo remembers that a whole month has passed in a foreign territory. That girl must have already waited for him. 2 days later, the warrior's supply hall is illuminated by the bright sunset. The girl is sitting in the waiting room, hoping that Chumo will return with the heart of the two-headed python for her sick mom. She heard someone's footsteps and lurks waiting to see her hero. 2 girls walked into the waiting room. The girl realized it wasn't Chumo. Some guy approached the girl, explaining to her that the serpent was strong enough and the guy probably died in the jungle, or didn't go there at all. The girl is very worried that maybe the guy is right. She clutches at her skirt from the tension and worry in her soul. She starts to cry because she doesn't know what she'll do if the warrior doesn't come back. Suddenly, a guy walks into the waiting room. He's wearing a cape and brown boots. People saw Chumo and were very surprised. The excited guys and the girl open their mouths. The girl notices Chumo, who informs her that he has completed her task. The hero holds a bottle with the heart of a two-headed python and hands it to the girl. A cheerful Chumo looks at the girl and is very happy that he was able to help this poor little girl. The little girl can't believe her eyes. She is unrealistically touched by the act of a stranger to her. The boy hands the bottle to the little girl and informs her that the task has been completed successfully, and she can see for herself that it is what she asked for. The girl looks at the heart with her big and surprised eyes, not realizing if this is really what she needed. A young man walks over to make sure Chumo is being truthful, informing that the little girl is not good at such things. The boy cheerfully informs that this is not just a snake heart, but the heart of a two-headed python of the highest second level, and the little girl's mom will be saved. The girl can barely hold back tears of joy, and as a token of gratitude, as promised, gives the python's egg, which is not hatched for 10 years. In the chest on a soft cushion was a huge python egg. The boy took the reward and headed for the exit, but the girl asked the boy to stop. The young warrior turned puzzled towards the girl, asking how he could help her yet. The girl decided to ask why the guy agreed to such a difficult task after all. The egg can be called useless. It has not hatched for a long time. The guy continues to walk away and smiles goodbye, his kind eyes lit up with blue light. The guy waves his hand and informs her that he was able to accomplish her mission. The girls are amazed at how the hero was able to defeat a top second-level python. It was incredible, and he appeared handsome to them. The man says that the warrior is at least in the realm of the late warrior, and the latter would like to hunt with Chumo. The girl has a flashback to her past life. Trust is said to be a luxury in today's world. The girl can't understand if there are still people who can say the same thing as Chu. It was possible. Walking down the corridor of the supply hall, he ponders that he should exchange materials for stones and buy a copy of the martial arts forging method. The guy went to the biggest store and ponders whether it's better to buy a sword or find a forging man who will forge it from the spine and scales of a python. The girl consultant is happy to see the warrior and congratulates him on his promotion, asking what he wants this time. The guy takes a closer look at the girl and realizes that last time he didn't notice that the salesgirl was an apprentice-level master. He had not had enough level then. Warrior level makes it possible to see such powerful sellers. The guy estimated the level of the Jade House. Chumo explained that he needed to sell a batch of materials and then buy some things to improve, and the girl invited him to a separate room. The girl explains to the appraiser about the warrior's intentions. The appraiser informs him that first, the quality of the materials must be checked. The boy lays out his riches on the table. There are bottles of blood, paws of beasts, and whole skulls. The materials are very good, and there are second-level ones. Looking at the materials, the appraiser is surprised that the young man was able to get it all by himself. According to my estimation, the value is 156 primary stones of inferior quality. I wonder if you are willing to sell them, informs the appraiser. The lad reports that the prices are fair at the Jade House and says he needs to purchase items for training, swords, and forging. The appraiser hands the warrior a book with what they are selling and informs him that if their store doesn't have what he's looking for, he won't find it in the entire base. A level 3 alloy sword is worth 100,000 stones, and the blood of a ferocious beast is worth 200,000. Chu didn't expect that he wouldn't have enough for something worthwhile. The guy decides to take a level 3 sword, a copy of the martial arts forging method, and an encyclopedia of beasts and plants. He takes the essentials. The man calculates the total cost. 172,000 primary stones came out. It is necessary to pay another 16,000, informs the appraiser. Here comes the girl consultant and apologizes for distracting from the conversation. Chumo looks at her questioningly. The cute girl whispers some information in the ear of the Jade House appraiser. That's when he informs the warrior that their leader is inviting him upstairs. The guy is surprised and doesn't understand why the leader wants to see him. So he decides to go and check if there's no reason, and tells the appraiser to take him upstairs. From afar, large doors with lattice pattern and glass inserts show up. A nice girl consultant asks to go through these doors. There, the head of the Jade House is waiting for him. In the manager's office was a girl and a woman, who Chumo had preceded in helping a girl who needed the heart of a two-headed python. The older woman respectfully asked the young warrior to take a seat. From the badge on her sweater, Chu realized that the old woman was a martial artist with 3 bamboo leaves that indicated the level of strength. That's what the legend says. The guy sits opposite the girl, and the old woman stands behind the seated mistress. The girl introduces herself as Mo Shanshan of the Jade Business Alliance and apologizes if she inconvenienced Mr. Chu Mo. The guy replies, "That's all right, Miss Mo. I wonder what Mrs. Mo wants from me," and realizes that since she knows his name, she's been making inquiries about him. The girl explains that she wants to invite Mr. Chu Mo to the Business Alliance of the Jade House. The guy is surprised, and the girl explains that she has inquired about him, but not maliciously. Earlier, she noticed that he had helped a little girl, and she was interested. She goes on to explain that earlier the guy had given the impression of an ordinary man who could not improve himself. The guy listens attentively and seriously to the girl, who assumes that the one has at least a middle-stage warrior, and thus a good talent. The girl notices the guy's seriousness and says there's no point in being nervous. Everyone has secrets, and his secrets she doesn't want to know. The guy remembers that girl and realizes that his good heart, talent, and strength, making people realize that Chumo is a true genius. The young mistress clapped her hands for her assistant to bring something. She informs him that the Jade Alliance is always looking for talented people. The woman brought a box that contains a level 3 sword. It is made from the bones and blood of a level 3 beast. It is better than the one the guy chose. The sword looks excellent. The hilt of the sword is long and comfortable. The finish is in the form of red stone. The iron is also red in color. The guy gets up from his chair and thanks Mrs. Mo for her high praise. Chumo explains that he is used to being free and not being bound, so he does not intend to enter into any alliance yet. The girl is serious and explains that they can still cooperate since only weirdos don't want to be bound, but they won't force him to join. The girl tells him that the Jade House is headquartered in Jinling and outnumbered by all the forces of the Luyang base, offers to join them. She continues that he has to do 1 mission a year, and in return he will get a 20% discount, special purchases, the right to explore treasures and stones. Chu realizes connectedness. Jade House uses such a method to attract talent for their own benefit. Chu can fulfill his needs. The girl explains that he has time to consider. As a gift, there is no need to pay for purchases. Chu Mo is attracted by the terms of cooperation. The boy examines the sword. He likes it very much. Chu is surprised that the leader is not afraid that he will not agree after receiving it. The girl decided that even if he refuses, she can afford to give such gifts, but hopes that Chu will make the right choice. Chumo decides that Mrs. Mo is very generous and he can't let her down. He accepts her offer. Madam and the martial arts master look after Chu Mo. The old woman clarifies why this rookie genius is needed, why waste even the leader's quota on him. The old woman became wary. The martial artist assumed something in her head. The girl turned to Elder Joe. She reported that due to her dual talent, she sensed the guy's aura that they were the same. That's why she called out. The boy is leaving Madame Shou. He is confident and satisfied with what is happening. The square of the First Academy of Luyang Base. After the double trial is over, the results are told. First place Chen Shiwei. Rumors have started that although Chen is strong, but Guo Kun from the elite class is scoring higher in the test than Chen Shiwei. Following up on the rumors, Guo Kun was severely injured when Xu Guang and his men surrounded him at Mount Dashu. Xu was killed. The body was searched for and not found. Chen is called to collect the reward, and she realizes that she won thanks to the savior who gave her Xu Guang's bag, trying to understand who could be the savior. The girl was so deep in her thoughts that her classmate had to elbow her to get her to go up to the dean's office. The dean is serious enough to once again beckon Chen Shiwei to pick up her award. The girl finally gets up on stage for accepting her long-awaited award. Handing over the bag to the girl, there are 10 bottles of blood and 100,000 lower-grade stones, and she can choose any 2 martial arts techniques. The students are shocked that the dean decides to take Chen for personal training, and the resources will increase. The kids are happy for her. The girl searches for Chu Mo among the crowd of students. She's giving herself bad thoughts about him. In an abandoned area outside the city, shouts can be heard. Thunder sword of wild cold sorrow. Several spider monsters are walking. Xu Guang's sword crystals fall on them. The guy is trying out the new sword in his training. Thunder Sword of Wild Cold Sorrow. Enter, shouts the warrior before the battle with the spiders. Guy is startled. He has seen something incomprehensible. His blue eyes are wary. There's a cliff right under the feet of the young warrior Chumo. A huge mouth with many sharp fangs appears under the guy's feet. The guy engages the second stage, dive. Chumo swings his huge sword and shouts, Thunder Sword of Wild Cold Sorrow. His incredible strength allows him to deal damage to his opponents at a high speed. A huge worm crawls out from under the ground. It has long whiskers on its torso. Crystals fall on him, but they are of little consequence to this monster. The crystals clump together. Trapping the worm, they tear it in two. Guy is pleased that the blade is up to the task and calls it perfect. The carcass of the monster is scattered in different directions, and the energy flow from the blade. It accompanies him. The worm left a huge hole. The energy waves completely penetrate inside to completely cleanse the monster. The warrior looks at the hole and thinks, the sword of cold sorrow has begun its plunge, and the sky-shattering blade has finally been perfected. The guy realizes that the new weapon will double the power of his killing methods, and he's sure that now he would be able to kill Guan with a single blow. Chu ponders, I'm supposed to have mastered the art of swordsmanship, but somehow I feel like I haven't finished something. It always feels like that. He decides that he has not reached the next 3 stages of strengthening muscles and bones, purifying blood, gathering ki. The book describes them as purification. The guy gathers an energy stream of bright yellow color, probably the energy of honey from those bees. Gathering waves of energy around him, he decides it's time to orient himself to doing a body hardening starting today. The guy changed his clothes and started training his body. He seriously set about developing all of his skills. An excellent red sword helps the young talented warrior to improve. Sitting down to stand a certain technique to develop his body, he immerses himself in cleansing and strengthening. Half a month later, the guy feels the life energy strengthening his bones and muscles. This feeling is truly indescribable. Chumo is immersed in understanding and accepting the sensations that are happening in his body uncontrollably. As he squatted down, he was overcome by the sensation that his bones were on fire. Steam coming out of his skin. The impurities had also been removed, so it was impossible to imagine that there would be such a big change after the purification, Chu said. After tempering with the life force method, the speed of refinement increased by more than 5 times. It would be possible to become one of the 3 warriors for this year. Half a month passed. Zhou Cheng might have noticed him, although Chumo is not afraid of him. But this family clearly has many masters. Zhou family's estate. The head of the family is looking at the city. Someone else has entered the balcony and is heading towards Zhou Cheng. Zhou Cheng extends his hand and a white bird lands on it, probably a pigeon. An angry man holds the bird on his hand. The man in the back reports that Chumo's footprints have been discovered. Zhou Cheng asks where he is, and the man with glasses tells him that Chu returned half a month ago. He was practicing in the abandoned areas and just returned home. The chapter reports that Chu is a smart man. When Kei Nian didn't come back, he thought he was warned to avoid the Zhou family. Chung continues by saying, in the end, a rare treasure was obtained by Zhou Qi. I hope he has mastered self-defense skills. Chung grabbed the bird. The man said to keep an eye on the boy, and when he returns to the abandoned area, he will deal with him himself. The man is angry and ready to avenge his son, intending to kill the warrior Chumo. The apartment building where Chumo's family lives. Chumo is there and remembers Mrs. Mo's words. The boy decides to focus on training at the warrior center because in the wilderness you can fight beasts, but the effect of collecting ki is not enough. Chen Siwei walks into Chumo's room and notices that Chumo is packing his backpack. The guy was incredibly happy to see the beautiful Chen Siwei. His eyes lit up at the sight of the girl, saying out loud that she's back. The beautiful girl is upset and asks if Chumo is already leaving. The guy says that he has to leave for a while. He will be in the city, safe, and promises to return in a few days. Leaving, the guy congratulates the girl on her victory and asks her to rest a little at home because he knows that she was injured during the double trial. Chu's reaction surprised the girl. Compared to the previous Chu, he is too calm now. The girl doubts that this is her Chu. Jade House, a top-class training building. The bright sun illuminates the houses with its gentle yellow rays. The thunder sword of wild cold sorrow. Silver-level martial art is powerful and ferocious, unrivaled in its pursuit of a deadly blade. Although the guy can control its coldness, he always feels that there is something that is still unfinished. Could it be that I'm not using my life force well if I could use more life force? The guy thinks to himself while practicing. The guy keeps practicing, but something still doesn't work out. The guy's not happy. Cold is an independent attribute of ice, and thunder has no manifestation. As for the skill, it's difficult to carry 2 attributes. It came to Chu's attention. Insanity. It's not about the natural attributes attached to it. It's about the insanity of this martial art. Chu, when a swordsman uses his sword, he has the power to move forward no matter what obstacles are in front of him. I will cut them down with my sword. The warrior believes that 1,000 swords are like one sword, and one sword is like 1,000 swords, and the only goal is to fight the enemy to the end. An epiphany comes to Chumo. There are thousands of ways, but only the sword is invincible. And he makes another sword move. The training continues. The day turns to evening. The orange setting over the horizon still illuminates everything with its light. The top-grade building of the Jade House is also illuminated by the rays of the orange sun. Footsteps can be heard. The guy has finished his training days and walks out of the building towards home. Fall has begun. The guy's dressed for the weather. The leaves are falling off the trees. They are in small holes. Passing by people in masks, the guy looks at them, wondering what's going on. The guy and the girl look at the XU building. The guy thought the building seemed to be moving. The girl replies that there are magic circles inside and outside. The warrior is wary. He sees something not good, which makes his face become serious. And then the unforeseen happens. Shu's building collapses. People are shocked. The debris of the building is flying in different directions, and the brave guy is covering the girl. They don't understand why this is happening. People in uniforms are rushing to the scene, realizing that someone who fear is completely lost is to blame for what happened. The man gives the command to surround the enemies, and if they resist, kill them. Just then, the head of the Jade House arrives and is surprised to see Mr. Chu in front of him. The girl is surprised. The guy has mastered the power of the sword even though he's not even 20 years old. He is definitely a genius, Mrs. Mo decided. Warrior Chu questions the leader. What kind of blade did she give him? Girl. He went to the academy as an ordinary person and didn't wield a sword at all. He's stronger than he realized and needs to be included in the Jade Alliance. There are 3 realms of the sword. The first is the light realm. The second is the shadow of the blade in the sky, unstoppable. The third is when the sword comes out, giving no way to avoid it. Guy ponders that the perfect level of the sky-destroying blade is the first level of the lightsaber. Guy has reached the highest level of lightsaber proficiency. Guy regrets getting carried away and destroying a building. Mo informs him that a real battle is needed to strengthen the fortune. The military men wonder who Mr. Chu is and how dare he joke with Mrs. Mo. The men realize that Chu's strength is unfathomable and it's awesome. The boy thanks the leader and leaves, planning to follow her advice to practice real battle. The sky is lit up with the dark colors of the passing sunset. Clouds can be seen in the distance. The boy walks down the alleyway and ponders where to fight. Is it really necessary to go to Mount Dashu again? When the young warrior Chu Mo notices that someone is following him. 2 men in suits are watching the warrior hiding behind a garbage can. Chu stops. This is where the guy taps into his talents. All kinds of energies start flowing around. The guy's body starts to disappear. The men don't realize what's happening. The men are in great shock. The warrior's gone. The stalker's face depicts a look of mad surprise. The men continue to look for the warrior Chumo, and the warrior is already standing behind them, asking if they are looking for him or not. The warrior's sword passes in the area of the man's neck. The man realizes that his end has come. The other man is scared and assumes that his life is coming to an end as well. Chumo holds him by the neck. The warrior rests the man against the wall, holding him by the neck without straining. He stands still and intends to find out some information from the man. The guy's face can't be seen. The eyes are glowing blue in color. He asks the investigator who sent them to follow him. The man is in pain. He immediately confesses that he was sent by Zhou Cheng. The investigator asks him to spare his life. Chu realizes that he needs to get rid of Zhou Cheng, or else both he and Chen Sui will be in danger. The man says that now is the perfect chance to do so. Thunder rumbles over the Zhou family manor. Lightning flashes. 2 guards walk by, communicating that after the death of Mr. Zhou Qi, the master is becoming more and more insecure. The other one says that no one is rejoicing over his son's death. As the conversation continues, judging from the weather, it's going to rain heavily in the middle of the night. I wish, replies the second guard. He's wearing a black suit and glasses. The guy with glasses has lost sight of the men and is questioningly looking for those. Somewhere in the garden of Zhou Cheng's manor, everything shone with a bright purple light. One guy looks out for the other guards, assuming they have gone to the forest. He looks for them and tells them to change. He is wary, for they have not yet left the garden. The boy went into the garden and saw that 2 of the guards were lying unconscious, and the third was sitting up and coming to his senses. He went to the sitting one and asked how it could happen. Just then, the guard turns around and sees the warrior Chumo and his new red unrivaled sword in front of him. He is both scared and angry at the same time. The guard remembers who it is and is amazed that he came here at all. Inside the Zhou family's manor, the head of the family is sitting. It felt like he was expecting someone. He wondered why the people chasing Chumo had not returned until now. Just then, Joe Chung heard some noise outside. He didn't like it. Joe Chang opens the doorknob and asks where all the people are and what is the noisy argument about. The head of the family, Joe Chung, is in a huge shock. When he opened the door, he saw his people dead. He sees this picture and standing in the distance, a guy, and he thinks, so many people were killed behind the wall and I only heard a small noise. Continuing his thoughts, when did such a strong young man appear in Luoyang base? Warrior Chumo turned around, realizing that his main enemy had come out of the manor, who was hiring people to keep watch. Joe Chung, who are you? We have nothing against each other. Why did you kill my men? The guy politely clarifies, you're Joe Chung, aren't you? What? You don't even know what the person you're trying to kill looks like? The man becomes incredibly angry and clarifies if the guy is Chumo. Joe Chung shouts, you killed Kanyan a month ago. I saw his body, but you just became a warrior. How dare you kill all my men? The man recalls giving his son information about the secret treasure in the Earth Dragon's lair and assumes that Chu took the treasure from his son. The boy looks at Joe Chung, who is outraged that the treasure can enhance talents in a month and that the boy took his chance. The head of the Joe Chung family is very angry and intends to pounce on the young assassin of his precious son. The man sends sword-like energy streams directly at the boy and tells him that he is about to kill him, and he had a chance to escape. Chu analyzes Chung's actions, saying that the man is using the energy to move the swords to increase the distance. He's very skilled at using power. Chumo is very angry, hitting the ground with his foot. He destroys the ground, and everything around him is lit up with his life force. The swords fly straight at Chumo, who has turned on his protective shell and is smiling evilly while looking at the man. Joe Chung did not expect that. This kid has reached a level where one can use life force, but that possibility is there, Chung says. The man is sure he's stronger than the young lad and tells the man to look at the sword. Joe Chung swings his sword at the young warrior and expects to be able to hit the target, but Chu dodges. There's a serious battle going on between two very strong warriors. It's not clear who can win this battle. Two swords clash in a serious battle. The head of the family, Joe Chung, is watching him to see how strong his enemy is. The guy is using his movement skills. His talents are excellent, for the guy has been practicing constantly. It becomes harder for the man to resist Chumo's damage, and he begins to doubt his victory. Joe Chung realized that this kid is not beneath him, be it speed or vitality control. Joe Chung's next attack made the kid tense up. He questioningly observes the man's actions. Just then, the man presses some button in the wall. His face is calm as he heralds his victory. A sharp explosion very suddenly hits the young warrior Chumo, and he jumps back. The wall collapses from such an explosion. Darkness, not a single warrior can be seen. The guy groups himself and flies backwards so that he doesn't fall. He is accompanied by blows after the explosion. The guy feels sick. He can barely stop himself with his red sword. Guy is shocked by this turn of events and looks warily in the direction of his enemy. Chung goes at him and says that even though he has increased strength due to the secret treasure, he is severely young, and he has a backup plan in his territory. Chu is having a hard time, and Chung promises to take him apart and pour out all his blood, which contains the secret treasure. Spreading his swords, the man tells Chu to go underground and make amends with his son. Chumo tries to stand up. 5 energy swords fly at him. The swords fly past the guy who is up to something and looks at Joe Chung with the eyes of a man who won't give up. Just then, Chumo flies up saying, floating light steps. The guy, unexpectedly to Joe Chung, abruptly appeared right in front of the man's face. The man is shocked at how fast the guy can move. Gathering energy streams around him, he says his next talent, Thunder Talent, and rests on the old man's face, engulfing his body with all his energy waves of higher power attribute. He makes a final tug, causing Joe Chung to fly backwards. As the man flew backwards, he was surprised. Wasn't the guy wounded? The man himself is injured from Chu's punch. The man lands on the ground. You can see the fear in the man's eyes. The guy recalls Joe Chi's words and calls him a shameless rascal, for he thought that Chu would be defenseless against his father. The warrior Chumo catches up with the man with a final blow using his strength. The man uses his 5 sword as a shield. A loud explosion occurs, not boding well for Chumo. The young boy looks towards the man and sees nothing. After all, everything around him is in gray smoke. The man is very angry and is not defeated. His eyes have turned a bright red color. The furious man tore his clothes and explains that he will now show why even the warriors dare not mess with him in Luoyang base. Rapidly picking up speed, the red-eyed man shouts, "Sky-destroying blade! 10,000 blades!" The guy looks and assumes that the man is activating a power outside his realm. Alienation after perfection. It's a good time to test your strength. Heading towards the guy, Chung doesn't understand why Chu isn't hiding. After all, even a single blade would kill him, even if his strength has reached the master level. The man is confident. No matter what, Chu will definitely not be able to pierce through his 10,000 blades. If I miss even a single strike, he won't be able to do any damage. The guy confidently gathers his strength, intending to test his abilities. His already strong sword gathers extra strength from its master. The furious man is shocked and shouts, "Barbarian resonance!" The guy intends to do damage to his opponent and asks the man if he has practiced the power of sword wielding. The man didn't expect this. The head of Zhou Cheng's family is overtaken by death. His body is torn apart by Chumo's warrior strike. Chumo turned around watching as the stunned Zhou Cheng split apart. The man did not regain his senses anymore. The guy puts the sword away in a storage bag. A small smile accompanies the guy who realizes that Zhou Chengsheng is dead. Zhou's family has been destroyed. Early in the morning, the guards arrived and began to sort out what had happened the previous night after all. The head of the Luoyang base's law enforcement team did not know that even Zhou Cheng, who was a high-level warrior, had died. He looks at Zhou Cheng's body. After returning from analyzing the bodies, the young guard explains to the captain that everyone in the manor was killed with a single blow. The captain realizes that the killer is a strong sword warrior that they can't handle. He demands that they gather information immediately and report upstairs. Evening has come. Chumo has probably returned to his home. The sky is covered in stars. Many bottles of blood from different levels of beasts, materials, precious medicinal herbs. The total value of things is over 1 million. Parnisha decides that Zhou Cheng's accumulation over many years is not enough for him. The next step is to reach the level of a warlord. Collecting jewelry in a bag for storage, fell out a chest with a python egg, which has not hatched for more than 10 years. Taking the chest in his hands, the guy thought that he almost forgot about this reward for killing the two-headed python to eat the heart of the girl's mom. He examines the egg, realizes it's alive, but he doesn't understand why other animals take 3 years at most to hatch, and this one doesn't. The boy drops a drop of blood on the egg so that it finally awakens. There's been a life force injection. Yellow rays appear around the egg. The young guy assumes the egg will hatch if the egg is just cracked. The next suggestion was to put it in a pot and boil it. Then he suggested that the egg eat the guy's zipper. The guy, exhausted in front of the egg, lay down on the bed and rested from all the manipulations. The guy thought that if the egg could be made to hatch so easily, it would not fall into his hands. Decided to go practice. In Chu's hands is the wind spirit fruit. It allows masters who possess the wind attribute talent to gain knowledge that could enhance their talent. A bird flies over the sleeping city. It's a three-eyed eagle. It's used to hunting small ferocious beasts at night. The three-eyed eagle is a fast, ordinary beast of the first class, small in size. The bird turns around at the noise. It was frightened, for there was no one around. Flying out of the window of his house, the guy swiftly flew past the houses. He checked out the sonic boom after consuming 42 fruits of the wind spirit. The guy thinks that after half a month of refining and digesting the wind spirit fruits, he finally exceeded the speed of sound. System: advanced physique, advanced level sword skills, bronze level wind attribute of the lowest grade, thunder attribute of the highest grade. The warrior is pleased, smiling. After all, the wind attribute had been promoted to bronze level. Chu realized that its full speed could exceed the speed of sound by 5 times. This speed is almost the same as a martial arts warlord. Chu can't stop himself. After utilizing the attribute breakthrough, he just strikes the forged bones. A gathering of strength is taking place. After cultivating, his body was mobilized. The guy felt his power. He intends to try his strength to the maximum. Chumo is serious. Gathering all his strength, the guy's eyes turned bright yellow and the concrete beneath his feet began to crumble. He emitted a sun-colored tornado. The base strength is 50,000 kin. If you add the chroma attribute, it can reach 200,000 kin. The bone refinement has been completed. The next step is to purify the blood. At the warrior level, muscles and bones work the same way. The basic strength is embedded in them. The middle stage of improvement is very long. A warrior can stand still for several years. We need to look in the Jade House for the healing liquid to speed up. At the Jade House, the guy is greeted by an enthusiastic guy asking that his level has improved again. The girl is shocked to see such a rapid progression in the young guy. Every time she saw him, his strength had increased significantly. The guy explains that lately he's been training hard and making great progress. He came to get some medicinal liquid. Madam Mo, if you're looking for a blood-purifying elixir, I was just about to ask for your help. The cost will be like this elixir. The boy understands that Miss Mo is referring to the tasks that need to be done for the Jade House as cooperation. It turns out that the Chungfeng Jade House has a treasure and she needs it. Because of that treasure, that base has lost a lot of people and so needs his help. Guy explains that there are thousands of miles between the bases and places where ferocious beasts congregate, and he hopes to perform the task not alone. For safety reasons, several warlords will be sent on the trip with him. The task is dangerous, and the rendezvous will be at the Western Gate at 7 in the morning, 5 days later. The reward will be 5 spears of rhinoceros horn jade liquid. It accelerates the improvement of blood and ki tenfold. The boy agrees. The horned rhino horn is rare and hard to obtain, so the Jade House is willing to splurge on the reward. Guy decides to get his hands on the elixir and sets out on this quest. He's standing there 5 days later at the west gate of Luoyang Base. Mission team members. In terms of improvement level, all the team members are at late or peak warrior level, and the strongest has reached warlord level. The girl turned around after hearing that young warrior, Chu Mo, had arrived. Miss Mo calls out for Mr. Chu to join them. A red-haired girl and a muscular guy are standing next to her. Madam informs them that they just arrived, and Cho says they haven't seen each other in a while. The guy turns around and sees Zhang Xuan. It's the manager. Chu greets him. The young guy with the beautiful sword is the manager of the Jade House, Luoyang Base, Zhang Xuan. Mo tells him that he is a rare warrior with 2 attributes. He has a medium sword enhancement talent and a lower metal talent. He was hired by a trade alliance. Shan, have you come to escort me? The manager addresses Mo and jokingly pushes her. She introduces Mr. Chu to him as a new member of the house. The manager warns Shan that not everyone can be a participant, warning her not to let herself be fooled. Chu Mo overhears this and decides that manager Zhang Xuan has something against him. Some man claps his hands and asks for silence from everyone, shouting, "Everyone be quiet." The man's name is Qian Yuan. He is one of the managers of the Trade Alliance, a level warlord. Many newcomers need to be told about the rules. Travel 10,000 miles round trip. No one is allowed to leave the team or make contact with outsiders. Report everything. Guy believes discipline and cooperation are important when working as a team in the wilderness. This leader is experienced. If no one has any objections, the manager suggests showing strengths and getting to know them. The first one to respond was Wang Tso, an aspiring warlord, good with swords. The next was Hu Nan, a high-level warrior, good with swords. Xin Yun Sheng, a high-level warrior, specializes in using daggers and has a weak wind attribute killing talent. Zhang Xuan, a high-level warrior, specializes in using swords with a medium sword improvement talent and a low metal talent. Rare talent. Zhang Xuan has the title of a special manager with a brilliant level. He asks what talent Chu Mo has. Chu Mo, an intermediate-level warrior, specializes in using swords. The guys are shocked. How did he mid-level get into the alliance? This mission is very dangerous. They think he can't even defend himself. Everyone is right, confirms the manager. He suggests not to talk about how Chu Mo became a member, being only mid-level. The manager threatens that the assignment is dangerous and no one will save him. Mrs. Mo asks Zhang not to be rude, as Chu's strength has been assessed by aliens and he can handle it. The manager presses on how Chu became a participant with such a meager culture, and he's afraid Shan will be cheated. Chu Mo starts to get angry and clarifies to the manager what he means by these words. It's simple. Defeat me, you, or don't even stutter about joining this mission and take off your responsibilities as a participant, says Zhang. Chu Mo happily agrees to go into a duel with that obnoxious manager, Zhang Xuan. The rest of the contestants, along with Miss Mo, stand off to the side to observe the upcoming battle. The girl says that there is a rumor about the manager that even warlords can't defeat him, clarifies the information with another participant. The metal talent is suitable for a swordsmanship attribute, but the sword can be fused to a level better than Chu Mo's, counts the guy. The manager warns Madam that he won't let Zhang Xuan seriously injure the Chu participant and assures her not to worry. Miss Mo is confident that Zhang Xuan won't be able to harm Chu Mo and informs her that Zhang Xuan's sword light realm is no match for Chu's sword power. Manager Zhang Xuan urges Shan not to worry, as he will make sure that he does not have Chu Mo's warrior blood on his hands. He catches up to Chu Mo with the words, "Kid, I don't know where you got the courage to accept my challenge, but today you will lose." The young, underestimated warrior easily dodged Zhang Xuan's sword. Seeing this, the manager tensed up slightly, losing confidence in this seemingly win-win battle. Chu noticed that several thin, hair-like sword energies had separated from the sword. If not for the ability to see at the speed of sound, Chu would not have dodged the needles. The guy was worried that if his blood vessels could be cut and everything would be ruined. That heartless Zhang Xuan cannot be held back. Based on such conclusions, the guy decides to practice his skills in this fight on a serious course. The other warriors do not understand at all what is going on, what warrior Chu Mo is going to do. Zhang is serious, explains that having reached the realm of sword light, the metal talent directs the sword energy to penetrate the body like a steel needle. John promises to make Chumo disabled. Chumo is very angry and urges him to repeat those words. Here, he plugs in his energy streams of attribute talents, and purple lightning emits waves of energy. Warrior Chumo grabs manager Zhang Xuan's sword with his bare hands. His strength is capable of allowing such a thing to happen to him. The sword shatters in Chumo's hand. The energy flow is so strong that this action does not harm its master in any way. The manager is amazed and doesn't understand how he was able to break his sword. Drops of sweat protrude from his body from anger and indignation at what is happening. The young guy is confident and enjoys the feeling of his victory. Manager Zhang Shuyan's sword breaks and shatters. From the outside, one can see that Chu didn't even have to put in much effort for such an action. The old man is surprised. He looks on and cannot believe that Chumo broke Zhang Shuyan's battle sword with just his hand. The manager is torn with resentment, anger, and intense frustration. He is very angry and sweat is protruding on his face. The guy picks up his sword and tells the manager to ask what his confidence is. The man doesn't understand what Chumo's next move is. He is frightened that he even closed his eyes. The guy is using a traveling technique that is 6 times faster than the speed of sound. He's only a shadow. He is already moving swiftly towards his opponent, indicating his actions as an answer to the question of confidence. The man takes many blows from Chumo and falls down, exhausted in front of Chumo's talents. He fell to the ground. The realization came to him that being an opponent for Chumo was no use. He accepted his weakness. Manager Qian Yuan flies over and examines the guy to realize how much damage the manager had taken. Miss Mo also walks over to him. The warlord looked at the manager and realized that Zhang Xuan was still alive, but his blood vessels were damaged and he was now disabled. The other warriors realized how he had become a member of the Jade House. He is indeed an extraordinary person. Zhang couldn't compare to a member of Chu. Miss Mo informs that now, finally, no one will have any doubts about Mr. Chu's strength. She calls for a break and prepares to leave. 4 days later, the members of the Jade House continue on their way, even at night. The warlord explains that it is almost night and tonight and they will rest here. As usual, one cannot make a fire without attracting beasts of light. Continuing the edicts, he reminds them to patrol in groups of 5, changing every 2 hours. The girl is glad that old man Qian has experienced an 80% of the ferocious beasts they were able to avoid. Tomorrow they will already be at the Changfeng base. Everything went smoothly. The warrior agrees with the girl. This was his first time in old man Qian's team. One of the guards of the Jade House wanted to add something, but he was abruptly illuminated by a bright light. Before he could say anything, a white shadow covered his head, and except for his hand with his thumb raised, he couldn't do anything. The other people did not immediately see what had happened to the lad. The guy saw something incomprehensible and opened his mouth in surprise. The girl Xin Yunsheng was startled and didn't realize what had attacked the guy in the first place. The girl fell to the ground so much she was scared. The rest of the guards went towards the girl to help and protect her. No one understands what is happening to the young boy. They are watching with their mouths open, realizing that Hunan died unexpectedly. Chumo stands up for the rest of the people, urging everyone to be careful. After all, the guy was attacked by something. He analyzes the movements and is surprised that the air doesn't fluctuate. The trajectory of the attack can't be felt. He doesn't know what it was. The warlord holds his shield in front of him and tells everyone not to panic and to prepare for battle. Armed warriors, look around for their enemy. A lightning bolt of light flashed near another guard, which was noticed by the red-haired girl, Xin Yunsheng. Another guard was lit up with a bright light, and the girl once again became very frightened. Chumo looks on with fear. He has sweat on his face from excitement. The girl informs her co-workers that just now, there was a white shadow near the guy. Chumo looks questioningly, not realizing what it is. He hears sounds from behind him. There was something beside the guy, and thanks to his incredible speed, the guy managed to escape from the enemy. An unusual, ferocious beast appeared beside Chumo. It had a huge, fluffy tail. All over its body is a brown mane. The guy was frightened. It was the first time he had seen such a beast, and was surprised how the beast, all of a sudden, appeared behind the guy's back. Experienced old man Sang realized how bad their situation was for the predator. It was a bursting white weasel. The guys and the girl prepared for battle. Portals appeared in the air, with purple streams emanating from them. The man is frightened and doesn't know how to have time to fight with such a ferocious predator. The guy is dripping sweat. He's scared and panicked, screams that torn white weasels can travel in space, and they will die, all die. The warlord clarifies, "There's no need to panic. It's just a level 3 middle-class beast. As long as it doesn't destroy us, there's a chance of survival." The man commands, "Stay alert." Position one person facing outward and the other inward. Form a circle at the sight of a caress. Pounce. The warriors have formed a circle and are watching carefully, so as not to miss the attack of the ferocious beast. The men are incredibly frightened. Their faces are covered in sweat from the tension. The warrior does not believe in defeating such a ferocious beast because it is extremely fast. Chumo sees that Qian is experienced, and this position allows for maximum observation in all directions. But it seems to him that something is missing. Clenching his teeth, another guard anticipates his death, hearing some sounds nearby. Chumo is watching him. A stream of purple energy slams straight into the guy's heart, ripping out his heart. The guy falls down, losing consciousness before his impending death. The team of Jade House members can't keep up with all of the White Weasel's attacks. The people notice the young lad's heart falling out of his body, and a white shadow flashed by his side. The guys are very scared, seeing the heart made them even more scared. Chumo thinks he's not ripping out the heart for prey, but to tease the scared people. He doesn't understand how the weasel has psychic skills. The next guard in the hat is hit by a ferocious beast. It also leaves him with a body without a heart. Chu's boyfriend looks on with shock in his eyes. Several guards were caught in the crosshairs of the weasel, one by one, left without hearts. Old man Qian is also expiring sweat, but explains to the others that the more panic, the more likely it is to be taken advantage of. People are sickened to see this picture, all standing with disgust on their hearts. Xin Yunsheng reports that she saw the weasel, but the weasel was too fast and there was no time to attack it. Shu Hao's boyfriend Shu Hao feels really bad, screaming that he can't take it anymore. He is incredibly scared by the attack from the weasel that is happening. Shu Hao panics and starts waving his sword, screaming for the beast to come out, go to hell and die. The girl is surprised by his behavior and tries to calm him down, but it's to no avail. The guy runs wherever he goes, continuing to call out to the predators and swinging his sword. He doesn't want to let everyone get killed. Purple waves appeared behind him. He heard a purple-colored portal open behind him. He realizes what is about to happen. The guy's eyes are full of terror. After summoning the weasel to fight, he ended up easily being left without his heart, which flew out along with the purple wave of beast energy. Guy probes the ground for when he can deal damage to the ferocious beast. The guy uses a second-level ghost step. Guy is very powerful indeed. Tearing apart one shadow, it turns black. And the guy admires the sky-tearing blade. Old man Qian saw what the young warrior did and is shocked that the weasel is cut. The other participants also noticed that Chumo had chopped the ripping white weasel, and they say it was very fast. The guy reports that the weasel is injured and its speed is reduced. Everyone needs to be careful. One guard has spotted the white shadow and calls out to a member of Chu to its location. Chumo promptly heads towards the location of the torn white weasel. The guy rips another squirrel, and his co-workers warn him that there's another one upstairs. After another tearing weasel, one of the members of the Jade House warns of the location of another weasel. One by one, Chu tears apart the predators, listening to the clues of his colleagues. This time, the weasel was right behind the guy. The girl tries to figure out what the weasel wants. After all, it doesn't leave its prey unless that prey is dead, and it must still be there. The wounded squirrel might be looking for an opportunity to strike. If she's brave, the next target will be Chu, and this is his chance to kill her, counts Chumo. Xin Yunsheng warns participant Chu that another weasel has appeared from above. A huge predator attacks from behind Chumo, intending to bite off his head. Purple energy illuminates the beast. The ferocious beast opened its mouth, revealing long, sharp fangs. White drool comes out of its mouth, and its eyes are illuminated with yellow light. Chu listened to the predator's actions. Faster than the speed of sound, he dodges the enemy. The warrior's strongest sword strikes with a red energy stream. Guy passes through the torso of the beast, and the beast falls down, making sounds of pain. Guy lands on the snake, leaning on his knee and arm. Everyone is shocked. The colonel reports that almost no one survives below patriarch level when encountering a weasel. Participant Chu has indeed killed her. The colonel realizes that in an encounter with a bursting white weasel, he would not have survived. Everyone is glad that the leader sent such a person with them. The manager of the Jade House approaches Chumo, thanking him for saving his life. The guy replies, "Overcoming problems together, we bind ourselves with the bonds of life and death, so it's not necessary." Old man Qian replies, "In that case, I will take the liberty of calling you Chu's elder brother," and informs the others that Chu is taking weasels on you. In response to such saying that it was because of Big Brother Chu that everyone was able to survive, Chu replied, "Then you're welcome. It's morning at the Changfeng base. A strong wind is blowing. There is not a soul outside. A team of warriors is approaching the Changfeng building. The wind is blowing their cloaks." The colonel has informed the person in charge of the Jade House at the Changfeng base of their arrival. Old Man Qian doesn't understand why the person in charge didn't come to greet him. Chumo wonders why Changfeng Base is so depressed after all. It's bigger than Luoyang Base. The walls of the houses are destroyed. The team feels that there is something wrong going on in the area. While looking over the area, the members of the Jade House heard someone's voices. The person in charge of the house and a couple of guards run towards the team, apologizing for keeping them waiting. The old man is serious and clarifies why there are only 3 of them. A man named Lao Sun stops and tries to catch his breath. The guy still is trying to catch his breath from such a run. Sweat drips down his face. The man doesn't answer the old man's question and calls for everyone to rest after the hard ride. He says someone will take them to an inn. Lao Sun announces that he will go with Master Qian and handle the transfer of the secret treasures that need to be escorted. The members of the Jade House stand and stare at the man, listening to his monologue. Lao Sun leads Qian Yuan and he informs his team that everyone is tired from traveling and can rest for a while. The guy sees that Lao Sun is avoiding the team and wants to personally warn old man Qian that something has indeed happened at the Changfeng base. Changfeng building. The wind has died down and the clouds are moving across the blue sky. Chu realizes that the weasel has done devastating damage to the team. If he gathers her blood with the ability to move in space, Chu's strength will increase. He commands his body to gather material from the torn white weasel. A bright light emanates from his hand. The screen. Acquisition successful. Acquisition of secondary spatial talent. May I request a merge? The guy agrees to the fusion and conducts the energy to his chest. Beams of energy erupt from his body. The guy cultivated. The screen reports that his spatial perception ability has been activated. Chumo feels the refinement of his body and sees around him quite clearly. The guy questioningly observes the surrounding spatial perception and realizes that he can clearly perceive within a radius of 50 meters. Seeing even a girl who bandages her hand in her room, he wondered what is the ability to break through space. After all, one can transport oneself like a tearing white caress. He decides to try out the new skill. He breaks through space. The guy is very happy with his new ability. To practice, he grabs a pigeon sitting on a tree branch. It didn't manage to fly away. This talent is both offensive and defensive. Spatial perception allows one to detect and find. A rift allows one to move instantly. Old Man Qian, along with the Changfeng base's house in charge, saw Chu and asked what he was doing there. Chumo jumps down from the tree and asks if Big Brother Qian is finished. Old Man Qian explains that everything is done and they will be making the return trip tomorrow. Lao clarifies if Chu is his nephew. Qian laughed, for he would wake up laughing in his sleep if he had such a son or nephew. And told about the pride of their team, Chumo. Lao soon informs him that if Chu has business at the Changfeng base, he will help him. After all, you can't miss out on such a young talent. Chu thanks Lao for his kindness and asks, "Why are there so few people at the base? Something happened here." The man realizes it's okay to tell Chu, but he didn't say anything in front of everyone so as not to cause a panic. The men hear shouting. Chu turns around to see what's going on. The men run away in wild terror. There's a huge dragon following them. The guy knows it's a 3rd-level spike-back dragon and realizes that if the Patriarch missed the base infiltration, the base is out of commission. The ferocious level 3 beast opened its mouth and began to growl menacingly at the humans. A little girl is crying, sitting in the ruins. She's calling for her mommy. Chu heard her. The boy rushes to the girl's aid. The warrior manages to make it in time because the huge hand of the beast almost grabbed the child. He strikes with his foot, right on the dragon's paw. The ferocious beast is furious. He's throwing slabs of concrete and is ready to crush everything in its path. Chumo hands the girl over to the old man and asks Brother Qian to take care of the girl, to which the manager implores him not to worry. Chu heads out to attack the dragon with the spiky back. He must defeat it. Lao. Among level 3 beasts, the humpback dragon is difficult to deal with. How can Chu deal with it alone since he's a 3rd-level guy? Holding the girl in his arms, Old Man Qian inspires Lao to be confident in Chu's strength. The dragon is incredibly ferocious. The old man reveals that Chu's older brother is an extraordinary mid-level warrior. Warrior Chumo swiftly heads towards the beast. In his hands is a sword. The dragon has spikes all over its tail. It's very strong. The dragon continues to scatter pieces from the broken road. The guy plugs in a 2nd-level ghost step and makes an attack on the dragon. Bouncing off the dragon's tail, the guy heads closer to the ferocious beast's head. Chumo moves on the dragon's back, and the dragon turns around trying to realize what's going on. The beast tries to flip the spotted guy off. It shakes its entire body. Chumo can barely stand on his feet. The beast is big and smart enough. The audience, in the form of Master Qian, the responsible Lao, and a little girl, are worried about the hero, shouting at him to be careful. The guy grasps the tail of the beast, trying once again to get on the back of his rival. Chu deftly scrambles from place to place to avoid falling off the huge dragon. Bouncing off the dragon's body, the dragon feels the weight of the young warrior. The dragon tries to turn around to finally see his opponent. The boy is ready to do some damage to the huge dragon. He screams before crushing the beast. The dragon is unbelievably terrifying. Its eyes are glowing, and it has many sharp teeth sticking out of its mouth. The boy leaps onto the ferocious beast's head. His energy streams emit lightning-fast lines that accompany the sword before striking. Crushing blows are delivered to the ferocious beast of the third level, piercing through the thick skin of the spiky dragon. Chu was able to hurt the beast. The boy finishes his attack on the beast, the sword illuminated with a purple color. The beast, struck in battle, falls to the ground. Energy streams of purple color pierce the powerful body of the dragon. The guy looks at the beast and hears shouts from behind him that, "Remember, Chu saved everyone." Old Man Qian runs to Chumo and yells that he is very strong since he alone so easily decapitated that humpbacked dragon. Chu asks what is going on in the base. After all, it is impossible for a level 3 beast to get closer than 30 kilometers to the base. Lao replies that in the past 2 months, the ferocious beasts have become extremely active. The base sent several groups to scout, but those groups did not return. Lao goes on to say that the ferocious beasts have started attacking the base more and more often. Changfeng base sent out 5 of the 6 warlords. And now, only the captain of the guard, Patriarch Zi Yuan, remained at the base. Warriors and warlords have been mobilized, resulting in a severe shortage of warriors. Qian hopes that they can figure out the cause and resolve the crisis soon, and if Lao Sun needs help, the latter can speak up. Chumo doesn't understand where the 3 patriarchs are, and what about such a problem at the base? They sent their disciples on a double mission to Luyang base. The boy wondered if there was a more crushing problem than ferocious beasts. He turned around when he heard excited shouts. The uniformed men ran towards the team and started shouting that the dragon had been destroyed, and they thought it was too late to run to help. The guy turned to Sun, asking that he was the one who killed the dragon, and explains that the western part of the city was also attacked. People are in short supply. Lao Sun explains that he defeated the ferocious beast, is Mr. Chumo, a member of the Luyang base Jade House. The young guy turned to the participant Chu, thanking him for defeating the bursting white weasel. Here he receives a call. On that wire is the captain of the guard. She is asking Mr. Sun, participant Chu, Master Qian, to go to the center. She has something to discuss. Chumo is very surprised that the captain of the guard is interested in them. Luyang Changfeng Base Center. There is a guard captain waiting for the team there. The guy explains that as the patriarch, the captain of the guard sat in the center and couldn't just take off. Warrior Chumo confidently walks into the guard captain's office. Guy asks to go in there. A member of the Jade House, Chumo, steps over the threshold of the office and senses something amiss. The guy's pupils constrict. He is wary and surprised by what he sees. The guy sees that all of a sudden it's darkened. "It's a trap, an illusion," says Chu. Here he turns on his spatial perception and tries to see who is in the office. A multitude of arrows, lit in purple color, out of nowhere fly towards the guy. He walks between them. It's all kind of weird. It was an assassin's technique. But he didn't feel the assassin's aura. The guy deftly dodges the arrows with his spatial perception talent. Some girl is watching what's going on. She liked it, which was very perceptive. After a while, Chu notices someone's body in the distance. The person is sitting on a chair and looking at Chumo. The warrior swiftly runs towards the stranger. He is sure that it is his next enemy. The girl is startled to be seen and realizes that Chu is using a spatial talent. The guy lunges at the man with the intent of doing devastating damage on the enemy. The girl noticed this. While striking the man with his sword, Chu is sure his attack was unexpected. The lights come on. Chu looks around and doesn't realize where everyone is gone. The chair is destroyed from his damage. The man claps his hands. Chu doesn't know who's playing this joke on him. Standing behind Chu is the captain of the guard. She's happy to see Chu and continues to applaud him. Chu is not happy with the captain's actions. The girl sweetly informs him this is the reaction she expected to her test. The captain apologizes for daring to test him. Chu looks over and asks if she is really the captain of the guard, Patriarch Si Yuan, and why she had to test him. Just then, Lao Sun and Old Man Qian abruptly burst into the office, asking if Brother Chu is okay. As soon as Chu entered, the door closed right in front of them. She explains that the movement of beasts can be artificial and the opponent's energy contains the power of a beast. It will be detected in a surprise attack. The girl can trust Chu after such a test and invites him to become a special member of the Changfeng base security. After all, without him, many people would die. Chu is surprised. He explains that today in the afternoon their team is returning to Luyang base. Qian explains, Everyone could stay to help, but the treasure must be delivered on time, or it will become useless. Without Chu, they won't be able to make it on the way home. The girl interjects the information Qian said, assuming that if the investigation is correct, the treasure will go to the insider. She informs her that she can't force her to stay, but Chu could come to help in case of danger, and the payment would be 50,000 stones a year. Chu explains that even without status, he will come to the rescue. After all, their bases are friends, and if one is in danger, so is the other. Captain of the Guard, Patriarch Xie Yuan, said that she would be happy to cooperate. The captain, along with Lao's son and a few guards, see off the team of Jade House Luoyang Base and wishes them a happy journey. The girl thinks it's wonderful that the trade alliance was able to recruit such a young genius. Lao explains that it is important for business to cooperate with everyone. The girl, with pleasure, wishes to continue the conversation with the Lao son in charge. The handsome guard captain Xie Yuan says that we need to talk business. Upon arrival at the western gate of Luoyang Base, the team is greeted by the leader of the Jade House, realizing that this journey was not easy. Warlord Qian hands over the secret treasure to the leader, Madame Mo, pleasing her that they have completed the task. Madame Mo is excited. She is glad that she finally got the treasure. The girl tells her that the Jade House has prepared rewards for the team, and a little later, Master Qian will send them to them. She also says that they have prepared healing elixirs and provided free access to the healing hall, inviting them to rest. Supervisor goodness. Before leaving, the leader asked Mr. Chu to stay behind. The two of them get into a white car that stands in front of the west gate. The girl explains that she knows he killed the ripping squirrel, and she is surprised that Mr. Chu is stronger than she thought. The boy is pleased that the leader of the Jade House complimented him. The girl informs him that she has a request for Mr. Chu and asks if Chu wants to see what treasure they were transporting. The guy asks what's in the box. He's very curious to know. In the box, the secret treasure is a key that opens a secret world. It's called the Manhwa Disc. Something happens at Changfeng Base. The person in charge yells that he really doesn't know about the Manhwa Disc. There is a man standing in front of Lao. Lao explains, the secret treasure was an expired elixir. The man in blue says that's not the information. The captain questions Lao, telling him not to be afraid of her, as she won't eat him. She admits that the alliance has experts, but their base isn't shabby either. In a recent study, the energy fluctuations between the Wanhua Kingdom and the modern world were discovered, and Mo Shan wants to take advantage of the treasure. Knowing all this, can't Changfeng Base investigate anything? As Captain Lao soon informs her that she has misunderstood. The captain tries to bribe Lao that the tax will be reduced by 5% for the Jade House. They are sending 2 people to the Wanhua Kingdom. Lao soon thought about the 5% tax reduction. There is a hidden camera upstairs and someone is watching their conversation. 3 masked people are watching the conversation at the Changfeng Base. A mystical mirror produces actions and sounds from the captain's office. The 3 masked men hear the information they need to know and contemplated their next move. The masked leader has some kind of Japanese badge on his cape that glistens in the sunlight. It's evening, 10 days later, in the house where Chumo and Chen Siwei live. The warrior Chumo is standing very serious. In his hand is a small sword. With this knife, warrior Chumo stabs his finger. Dark red blood flowed out of the wound. The guy raised a small amount of blood into the air. Streams of blood-colored energy rose up around him. The guy throws the drops of blood to the side, followed by a wave of blood-colored energy. The blood, along with the flow of energy, was able to destroy a section of the wall. The blood arrow flew out of the hole in the wall and headed in an unknown direction. Chumo paused in the pose where he sent drops of blood into the wall. The hole in the wall went all the way to the street. Gathering his hand into a fist, the guy commanded the blood to return back to its master. The blood, also in the form of an arrow of energy flow, returned back to Chu's apartment, but already through the balcony. The great perfection of blood purification. Chi blood is like mercury, condensed and not dispersed thanks to Mo's pill. The guy recalls Mo's words. She discovered that a realm will appear in a month, and this Wanhua disc is the key. Mo invites Chu to go to the mystical realm of Wanhua in search of the Black Stone of Chalcedony. After all, one can only enter there below the warlord level. Mo informed that only the Black Chalcedony stone needs to be taken, and she won't fight for other finds. Chu needs to go up to the late warrior level. The boy recovered from his memories and looked back at the hole in the wall. In the concrete rubble in the hole in the wall was some kind of box. Chu noticed it. He pulled the box out, not realizing how it was there or what might be inside. Inside the box were letters, pills, someone's heart, also knives and stones. Also bottles with colorful liquids and books. Chu wondered what the unusual blue crest was with drawn Japanese symbols and a border in the shape of fire. Chu believes that he has absorbed all the memories of the original owner, but he has absolutely no memory of this chest or the crest. The warrior Chu Mo picked up the book, assuming it was someone's diary. The girl writes that her level has stopped at Warlord and there is no reason to level up. He said that we are humans abandoned by the new world. There's no way for them to survive. The work in the research lab is not going well, and there aren't enough level 5 test beasts. We need to look for level 6 or 7. The girl is worried. Xiao Mo is 15 years old. He's an ordinary person. He's right. Physical fitness is not only heredity, but has the possibility of weakening. The girl went into the forest. Chu read, "A ferocious beast of the 7th level appeared in the west in Yaoshi Forest. I must go and see." Continued, "Xiao Mo, wait for mom and dad. We will definitely change your physique and you can reach warlord level." The guy is analyzing what the original body owner's mother was working on, a way to change the cultivated body. Guy doesn't understand. Chu took the knife in his hands and felt its lightness. It is cold and chill in his hand, almost weightless. This dagger is an unusual thing. 10 days later, a team of people gathered at the edge of the forest. The leader of the Jade House is surprised why Mr. Chu didn't come. The girl is Patriarch Susanna, a peak-level warrior. The guy is Patriarch Liao Yu, peak warrior level. Both of them are from the Changfeng base. Susanna doesn't understand why Miss Mo is waiting for Chu. What makes him so good? The guard saw Mr. Chu and reported it to Madame Mo. Warrior Chu Mo has come to the meeting. He's very serious. His face is angry. Madame Mo noticed that there is a different energy coming from Mr. Chu Mo. Susanna says that an aura like Chu Mo's cannot be that of a mid-level warrior. Liao Yu reports that the girl is too emotional. A joyful Miss Mo Shanshan surprisingly clarifies to Mr. Chu Mo that he has leveled up again. Chu Mo reports that he has retrieved some things and asks for her help in recognizing the 2 daggers. Mo, it is made from the bone alloy of a level 4 ice crystal bird. It is used as a concealed weapon. It has no sound and has a hidden effect. The girl wants to test Chu's abilities in the mystic realm. Liao Yu asks her not to put sticks in their wheels after all. They just need to gather information. Chu Mo senses energy fluctuations and assumes it is an entrance. People have sensed the wave fluctuations and are wary, waiting to enter the mystic realm. The girl holds up the key to the mystical realm and informs them that the time has come and they are ready to enter Manhwa. The girl explains that upon entering, random teleportation may occur. She will report her location and everyone needs to come to her. The leader of the Jade House retrieved the Manhwa disc and it hung in the air, right above the girl. A huge portal opened and the team traveled inside the mystical realm. Mrs. Mo summoned everyone to move into the portal and everyone ran, with serious faces, not knowing what would be waiting for them there. After the heavens and earth changed, small worlds appeared in different parts of the blue star. They were hidden and named mystic realms. Some realms were rich in resources. They had mountains, water and life, beasts and treasures, while others were barren, not an inch of grass grew in them. The Wanhua mystic realm was one that, after being explored by the warriors, were found to be rich in resources. A man flew out of the portal and screamed at the speed of the fall. It was Chu Mo. He feels dizzy. Teleportation is so unstable. He decides to take a look around. The guy taps into his spatial perception and looks at his location. He realizes that there is no danger nearby. He sees the flowers and knows that it's a 500-year-old multicolored orchid and a 300-year-old minmu grass. With so many precious spiritual herbs, the concentration of spiritual power is extraordinary. From the life force emanating, the beasts here are not weak. Chu Mo noticed something in the air. It was the torches that Mo Shanshan was letting out so that everyone would find her whereabouts. The guy assumed that everyone had already arrived safely and started packing. He too decides to come as soon as he can. The leader and guards lined up in a circle to defend themselves from the ferocious beasts. The wolf-like ferocious beasts with white eyes surrounded the people and grinned their mouths with sharp fangs. The manager of the Jade House informs the attendants that these are ferocious second-level beasts, but there are too many of them, so everyone should be extremely careful. She pierces one of the beasts with her sword. The one falls to the ground already headless. The battle is in full swing. The attendants are trying to maximize the kills in order to protect their boss, namely the manager Mo Shanshan. The beasts are attacking from all sides. There are no fewer of them. The supervisor also uses all his strength to win. While one of the attendants was dealing with another beast, another predator attacked him from the back and pierced a patch of skin on his shoulder. The man is in a lot of pain. The beast's eyes glowed red. Another attendant came to the aid of his colleague and decapitated the attacking predator with one blow of an axe. The wounded attendant tries to leave the scene of the battle as soon as possible. He is in great pain. The attendant who saved his colleague in time to react to the sounds from outside and turned around before another fierce beast bites him. The young man tries to defend himself against two ferocious wolfhounds of this mystical realm at once. But he is already losing hope of winning them over, because there are so many beasts and it is impossible to kill all of them. Manager Mo Shanshan fights to the maximum and urges everyone else to hold on both physically and mentally, for they will be able to escape when the rest of their team arrives. Engrossed in the battle, Miss Mo doesn't notice the huge maw behind her, but one of the guards warns her of the danger coming from behind. She is alert and intends to defend herself against the beast that befalls her. The young manageress turns back and sees before her the huge mouth of a ferocious beast about to bite her. She is frightened and intends to dodge, but she is not sure if she will be able to do so in time. There is intense fear on her face. As the girl was preparing for her death, Warrior Chu Mo had already dealt a devastating damage to the ferocious beast by connecting his energy streams. The beast's head swiftly flew aside, separated from the beast's torso. The great warrior Chu Mo arrived just in time and saved Lady Mo Shanshan from her impending death. He is very angry and intends to deal with all the enemies who are preventing the team of Jade House members from passing through. The young manageress is very happy to see her savior. She screams his name and wants to thank him for saving her. After defeating the ferocious beasts, Mr. Chu hears the cheers of the attendants, who are also very happy to see his speedy arrival and the rescue of their leader. Standing behind Chu Mo is Mo Shanshan, who has yet to recover from the past battle. Miss Mo hides from the beast behind her savior's back and warns Chu Mo to be careful, for there are too many ferocious beasts. The two attendants stand in front of the warrior and the leader. They are holding defense and offense tools in their hands. And the ferocious beasts are indeed very many, and it seems as if they are not getting smaller. When Mrs. Mo Shanshan warns the warrior not to worry about him, as the battle is with only second-level ferocious beasts, he tells everyone that he can handle it on his own. The cultivated warrior plugs in the attributes of the sword power talent, and it lights up with a red light. And Chu Mo anticipates the battle ahead, with the intention of defeating every ferocious beast and finally going in search of the Chalcedony Black Stone. During the warrior's battle, red-colored smoke lit up in the air, and beams of energy streams headed in different directions of their location. Lightning bolts of green light appeared in the area of the cliffs where the warriors came from. Someone arrived in the mystical realm, along with a crushing green energy flow. An unusual beast with huge wings landed on one of the mountains. Around it, the energy streams continued to flow. Right in front of the tower, beasts with thick manes and huge muscles gathered, carefully examining and listening to their apparent leader. Very extraordinary and clearly very strong beasts worshipping the winged predator. Sitting on legs similar to humans, the beasts look up and wait for a command from the manager. The ferocious beasts are very strong. Their eyes are lit up just like those electric currents piercing the sky above the most important beast of this mystical world. A certain beast, with paws like a bird, a muscular body, huge wings and horns on its head, stands on a dais and informs its subjects that someone has entered their mystical realm. He senses that his key has returned. Perhaps this beast is as intelligent as a man. Suddenly, right under Warrior Chu Mo's feet, the stone slabs began to collapse. The fluctuations of the mystic realm shook the ground, and with the destruction of the ground, there was a lot of smoke around. The fellow began to listen to understand what was happening in this world. Young Master Chu Mo strained his ears to hear some sounds, but all he senses is that the life energy of the entire mystic realm has slightly shaken. He gazes into the sky and assumes that his talent has improved his perception of space, but this mystic realm gives him the feeling that space is very unstable and very dangerous. The companions from the Jade House are very happy and discuss that one man has destroyed all the ferocious beasts. To them, this is amazing, because even warlords can't accomplish such a thing. They think that for a member of Chu Mo, this is not bad at all. Standing behind Warrior Chu Mo, Mrs. Mo Shanshan decides to thank Mr. Chu for his help, and says that without his help, there is no telling how many people they would have lost in this battle. Mr. Chu Mo says that there is no need to thank him. He puts his powerful sword away in his storage bag and asks the manageress of the Jade House if this is everyone who has arrived at the mystic realm to Mo Shanshan's location. Miss Mo reports that it has been 2 hours since the gathering signal was given, and a total of about 40 people have arrived, excluding the 2 from the Changfeng base. The girl is upset that only the number of people they have now have gathered. Chumo is surprised and asks the manageress if it's true that Changfeng Base has sent someone to search for the Chalcedony Blackstone. Mo informs that their base is depleted and those have arrived to gather resources. The danger level is higher than Mo expected, and she decides to cut her time short. If Chu can help find the stone, she is willing to give half in compensation for the shortened exploration time. Chumo tells Mrs. Mo that the kingdom gives him a bad feeling, and it's not just the ferocious beasts. A long stay is dangerous for them. He suggests finding the stone and getting out of this world as soon as possible, asking how important the stone is. Lady Mo is surprised by Chumo's question, as he had no interest in it before. Chu replies that this treasure is so valuable, then it's better for him not to know about it, lest he get greedy. But he says that things have changed, and he should evaluate the risks for the sake of the stone. Madame Mo informs him that the stone is a treasure of heaven and earth that can allow warriors to transcend the boundaries of their level and gain a stronger foundation. Giving an example, Leader Mo explains that a warrior at the peak level, with a physical strength of no more than 200,000 jin, due to the Chalcedony stone, will allow a warrior to overcome their limit and gain a strength of 300,000 or even 400,000 jin. Continuing the explanation, Mrs. Mo Shanshan says that this means that he will have a higher growth limit in the future, and clarifies to Mr. Chumo whether it is worth the risk. Of course, Warrior Chumo gives his consent to the quest, and realizes that if he has the talent and enhancement ability that the gathering system gives him, the stronger the base strength, the stronger the enhancement strength will be. The young warrior says that he should immediately go in search of Chalcedony and find it as soon as possible. The manageress of the Jade House is completely satisfied with Mr. Chumo's decision, and the attendants await further action. A Manhwa disc rose into the air, which Mrs. Mo stuck out of the box. It is illuminated with a bright green light. Madame Mo informs the team that the disc can find the center of the earth veins and the gathering place of life force in the mystic realm. After all, such a place is the best environment for Chalcedony Blackstones to grow. Hovering in the air, Wanhua's disc turned towards one of the mountains and directed a bright green beam towards the location of the mystic realm's life force, and accordingly, this is how the Chalcedony Blackstone should be. At the same time, in the distance, on the same elevation, the head of the ferocious intelligent beast spread his wings. Above him, green energy beams of green, the same green color as the Wanhua key, could be seen. Illuminated red-colored eyes look away. The beast informs his subjects that the key's breath is heavier in that direction. He tells one of the sentient beasts to go and fetch him his key. The beast's paw steps on the stone slabs, in the direction of the disc. You can tell by the swirling dust around his paw that the beast is more powerful than normal monsters. The beast is incredibly terrifying. It has huge wings, long ears. The body is muscular. He stands on 2 hind legs, which is very similar to a man. He has a gold-colored bracelet on his arm. He is angry and intends to fulfill the task of his lord. The team arriving at the mystical realm walk towards the direction of the Wanhua beam. The team leader walks ahead of everyone to light the way with these discs. She informs the team members that if they follow the direction of the key, they are going in the right direction. Behind comes the warrior and the attendants. Suddenly, the chaperone, walking behind everyone, started screaming loudly and running to the rest of the participants for help. The other attendant heard the screams and doesn't understand what happened. Chu Mo and everyone else became frightened, assuming a beast was approaching. Warrior Chu Mo turned around and saw that a ferocious beast had attacked the very extreme guard walking behind everyone. He contemplates the beast he would have to fight. Chu Mo commanded to cluster together and stand in a circle, for the protection of the manageress and the injured attendant. The men look around carefully for the ferocious beast, but there is no one around. Standing next to the wounded man, suddenly, Manager Mo Shanshan notices that the wounded arm and torso of the attendant are turning blue. The mistress warns her protectors that the beast is poisonous, and everyone must be careful not to let the beast injure themselves. Finally, the warrior Chu Mo notices the beast swiftly flying towards him. He prepares to fight as it flies at him. Chu Mo swings and uses his powerful sword to try and crush the flying beast attacking him. He grits his teeth because he realizes that the beast is poisonous and fast, then very dangerous to the entire team visiting the mystic realm. The warrior strikes at the ferocious beast as it approached Chu. A red trail radiates from the sword. He managed to deal damage to the beast. The winged beast felt the power of the warrior's red sword and fell down with a very strange cry. Chu Mo stands waiting for his opponent's further actions. Examining his sword, the warrior is slightly startled. While striking the beast, he felt that the flesh of this beast was very strong, and his strike, which could cut through any alloys, was unable to pierce through the skin of this beast. This golden-winged poison fox was a ferocious beast of the second level. It rose up after a fall that shattered the stone ground. Smiling evilly, it intends to continue its attack on the warrior. The golden-winged foxes began to surround the company of travelers. No one can understand the actions of these beasts, since according to the information from the books, this beast is a loner. But now, there are too many of them. The ferocious beast intends to overpower the strangers of their land and jumps on one of the team members. It makes some noises and bares its claws on its paws and grins its maw. A crushing battle ensues. The teammates warn each other not to let anyone hurt themselves on their claws. The thick skin of the ferocious beasts does not allow the attendants to win this battle in any way. Manager Mo Shanshan holds the Manhwa disc and analyzes the beasts. She realizes that just like the past beasts that attacked them at the beginning of the journey, these second-level beasts are far superior to the ferocious second-grade beasts, with their body strength and speed. During the fight, Chumo heard some strange sounds. He hears a voice transmitting some instructions. Where the leader with the disc is standing right from the ground, someone very swift jumps out and intends to grab Wanhua's disc. Mrs. Mo did not expect such a swift attack beside her and is very frightened. Before she can react, the little beast snatches the Wanhua disc out of her hands and rushes back underground. Mo Shanshan has no time to hold the disc in her hands and involuntarily lets it go. In a flash, she draws her sword and shouts at the lizard to return the disc to her. She is very angry, though she continues to look cute. The beast dodges the girl's sharp sword by raising its hind legs up. The lizard tries to jump over the leader's sword as quickly as possible and doesn't agree to let go of Wanhua's iso-mouth disc. Unexpectedly, in the hard skin of the lizard, the golden-winged fox clutches it and carries it away from Mrs. Mo Shanshan. Watching the scene and accepting her defeat, the girl looks after the animal, not understanding. How can the golden-winged poisonous fox cooperate with the lizard? As always, Chu Mo is in the right place at the right time and intends to retrieve the disc, swinging his unrivaled sword at the beasts. The guy threw a punch at the fox, causing the lizard to drop the Wanhua disc. Involuntarily opening its mouth in pain, the golden-winged fox let go of the lizard, causing it to release the Wanhua disc from its mouth. The guy excelled in preventing the loss of the Wanhua disc. He landed on the ground with a strong impact that dust rose up around him. In the distance, the manager stands in the distance and reaches towards Wanhua disc to grasp it more firmly in his hands. Manageress Mo has figured out the essence of the arrival of these beasts. She informs Chu Mo that the ferocious beasts have arrived for the Wanhua disc. She explains that she has a plan that they need to cooperate for. Guy analyzes Mrs. Mo's words and assumes that someone must be guiding them and they need to be careful. He thinks that there is a spiritually intelligent beast that people have rumored to have at least a 5th level of development. The guy turns on his spatial perception to check who is hiding nearby and issues commands to the ferocious beasts. Everything around is illuminated with purple energy, and Chumo looks out for an intelligent beast. Finally, through spatial perception, the young warrior spots his main enemy. He is standing behind a tree and observing the scene, giving commands to his petty subordinates. Without a moment's hesitation, the Chumo warrior activates the ability to move in space and passes through the portal, illuminated by the purple energy of his attribute. The intelligent beast continues to look towards the team. Its eyes are illuminated with a bright yellow light, and its wings are towering above its head. Through spatial movement, Chumo very quickly appears behind the beast, believing that the beast did not notice him. But unexpectedly, the strongest warrior, the beast, swiftly turns towards him. The intelligent beast begins to glow yellow, showing its power and trying to scare the man. It stands on 2 legs, and the fearsome face of the wolf stares at the lad. Without thinking for long, the young man makes a dash and strikes the beast. But it turns out to be very fast and manages to protect his head with a strong, muscular arm. While Chumo was dealing damage, he noticed the beast had human features. The beast pushes the warrior's sword away, and its arm is accompanied by yellow-colored energy streams. From such a push, Chu is thrown back, and due to the speed of sound, he manages to group himself and land smoothly far away from the predator. He stares at the ferocious beast, marveling at its power and intelligence. Looking at the predator, Chu realizes that this ferocious beast should be at least a Class 5, but its attack power is less than a Class 3. Chu is surprised and realizes that this is the first time he has encountered such a beast. Realizing that the warrior is probably superior to the beast in physical strength, the beast tries to get away as soon as possible. But the warrior does not intend to let his enemy go so easily and runs after him. Mr. Chumo asks the beast if it wants to run and activates the skill of moving in space. Penetrating inside the portal, he begins to pursue the ferocious, intelligent beast. Intending to crush his opponent as soon as possible, Chumo got out of the displacement portal and swung at the beast. But the sentient creature had already turned towards the warrior, intending to defend itself. The warrior activated his talents and used energy lightning to strike the beast's ribcage. The beast begins to fall from such a powerful blow. Finally, the beast falls to the ground, shattering the rocky ground with its weight and the force of the fall. The warrior has not yet landed on the ground and checks to see if he has finally defeated the intelligent beast. Making another strike, Chumo uses his sword momentum. The man's body is illuminated with a dark purple light, signifying that the warrior has activated his talents in the battle with the beast. Chumo hits the beast in the chest. He is very angry and tries to crush the beast completely. The purple light of the energy flow of the warrior attribute's energy stream is emitted around the opponents. A white-colored dust rises during the strike. The beast has been crushed. It looks dead. Chumo looks at his defeated opponent. The leader of the golden-winged fox is larger than humans in size. Chu realized it took the sword strike power of 10,000 swords combined into one to pierce through the beast. The physical strength of the ferocious beast was close to the 5th level. The leader of the Jade House runs over and calls out to Mr. Chu Mo, who had only defeated the enemy while Madame Mo was not around. Mrs. Mo informs him that the ferocious beasts here are all strange and is glad that Chu is with them, for without him they would have failed. Chu agrees. The beasts do indeed show conflicting characteristics, so he decides to check the life force in his body first. He approaches the beast. Chumo extends his hand towards the beast. The ferocious beast's mouth is open. Chu feels that behind his back, someone is intending to make a strike. A huge shadow stands right behind the warrior and swings his axe. The leader and Chu Mo manage to jump back from the attack of one of the guards. The one struck the ground with a blow. The Jade House mistress is very scared and doesn't understand how they were treated. The man has intentions to kill Chu. He holds a weapon in his hands and smiles evilly. The guard and Chumo's battle begins. The leader looks at him, asking what he is doing, why he is attacking. Chumo notices that the attack power this man has is approaching that of a warlord, even though he is only at the peak of a warrior. Chumo and the traitor fight while swinging their swords. They are very strong. In the distance, another attendant is running. It is no longer clear whether he is an enemy or an assistant from the Jade House team. Chu guessed that their target is the corpse of the leader of the golden-winged poison fox. Chu wonders if there is some mystery in this ferocious beast. In the distance, an enemy is running straight at him. Chumo looks at him and analyzes what will happen next. The battle continues. The traitor jumps on the warrior. He wants to chop him down with his axe. There is no face to be seen. Mr. Chumo sees the intentions of the former escort and plans further actions. The enemy's weapon deals damage to Chumo's sword. A strong strike occurs, but there are no energy flows around the axe, which means that the chances of defeating the warrior are nil. Chumo activates his thunder talent, doubling his strength, and intends to overpower his opponent. He strikes the opponent's axe. The enemy's weapon cannot withstand the power of the sword, cultivated with various warrior attributes, and shatters into small pieces. The enemy man is angry because he's losing the battle. His weapon is broken, and Chumo is stronger than he expected. An electric stream is directed at the enemy man's face. A cut appears on the man's cheek, accompanied by a purple energy flow. The enemy's face is very angry and in pain. Chumo used physical attribute powers but did not overpower the opponent. The man is hurt but not defeated. The sharp axe of the traitor falls out of the hand of the enemy in the form of an attendant, and the man says that the blow was close to the hand. The man turns on the fellow and informs him that the fellow nearly died by his hand. A scar from the sword blow shows on his face, but it has no effect on his opponent's behavior. On the contrary, he smiles and suggests that he can overpower the young warrior Chu. Chu analyzes that the enemy's aura is definitely human, but it is surprisingly similar to that of a ferocious beast. He doesn't realize who he's dealing with, and it's very alarming. Unexpectedly, the green-clothed enemy, the leader of the Jade House, deals damage and wounds the man's arm. He screams out in pain. The beast's eyes are still glowing. The leader of the Jade House is frightened. She didn't expect to get into such an unforeseen turn of events after all. The preparation was only for a battle with the beasts of the mystic realm. not the humans on her team. Two metal-sharp arrows swiftly rush towards the target. Definitely they are the enemy's arrows. A green energy flow accompanies the flight of the arrows. While Mrs. Mo is standing aside near a tree, she just in time notices that from afar, arrows are flying directly at her, and Mr. Chumo, the leader, manages to dodge the metal arrow. She is very tense and serious as the attack is coming from her team. Chumo, too, managed to dodge the metal arrow. He is very angry because the danger is gaining momentum, and he urgently needs to defeat the enemies who introduced themselves as their escorts. The most active person from the enemy team rushes towards his colleagues. In his hands, he has a metal bow with an arrow, probably the guy in the mask of an escort. One of the traitors in green uniform stands and watches what's going on as he is suddenly grabbed by the arm by another escort in green uniform. The guard who had been bitten by the beast sat with pain in his arm. He didn't know what to do next, but his coworker touches his shoulder to take him with him. Suddenly, a portal of bright blue color formed. The three traitors ran inside the portal before Chumo and Miss Mo caught up with them. The girl realized that it was a spatial prop that could accidentally teleport, and they escaped. All three of them were acquaintances from the Jade House. She doesn't know when they were replaced. The young company is puzzled to think and make sense of what is happening. Mr. Chumo is surprised that the traitors went to such lengths to hide themselves for the corpse of a ferocious beast. He questioningly examines the sentient beast and tries to understand what the secret of this corpse is. It is evening. The mystic realm is very turbulent. There is something going on in the area of the mountains. Two warriors are talking. The guy says that a 400-year-old spring grass is worth at least 100,000 stones. This time, he is very happy that this time he really hit the right place. Patriarch Susanna thinks that it is very strange that they met too few ferocious beasts on their way and thinks that it is abnormal. But Liao Yu doesn't understand her, thinking that the fewer beasts, the easier it is to gather resources. He is holding a plant in his hands. Susanna heard someone's footsteps and hid in the bushes, grabbing Liao Yu with her. Liao Yu didn't expect such actions from his friend, and the latter focused on following. The patriarchs noticed the three attendants of team leader Mo Shanshan's team, who had stopped to take a break from their battle with Chumo. The young men peek out from under the bushes and try to figure out what the three are up to. The man removes his mask, telling his colleagues that he couldn't imagine how difficult it would be to deal with Mo Shanshan and Chumo. The man is angry that they were unable to capture the body and were also exposed while trying to save his coworker. His face is familiar to the entire Jade House team. Patriarch Susanna is in a huge shock. Her eyes are full of terror as she realized who is hiding behind the mask of the attendant. She has no idea how this could have happened. Behind the mask of the attendant was the traitor Nie Yu from Patriarch Yehua's team. Susanna checks with her friend. Didn't all of Yehua's attendants go with the Patriarch to investigate the movement of ferocious beasts? The traitor Nie Yu informs that there are no special beasts in this mystical realm. We need to hunt one down first, and then go back to find Mo Shanshan. His colleague reports that, this time, their target is what Mo is looking for in the kingdom, not the ferocious beast. After all, the beast has already put them at a disadvantage by revealing their identities to the Luoyang-based Jade House team. The guy guarantees that the value of the special beast's corpse is much higher than what Mo Shanshan is looking for. He is very confident that he can accomplish his goals. The supervisor reports that Chu is right, that the beast's strength is really only at the 2nd level, but the physical strength and evolutionary characteristics are at the 5th level. Mrs. Mo examines the dead beast, the other men standing in the distance. Chu recalled what the leader said. Only warriors below the warlord level can enter the realm. The boy assumes that the level restriction in the realm does not only apply to outsiders, but the beasts are also restricted. Their level is no higher than level 2. The leader is surprised how beasts that feed on the energy of the realm can be restricted to the 2nd level of physical strength. Chu doesn't know why this is the case. He says there are too many mysteries in this realm. Guy suggests they hurry up and find the Black Stone of Chalcedony. The sooner they get it, the sooner they will calm down. The team continued their search in the mystical kingdom. Mrs. Mo is holding the Manhwa key in her hands, and the attendants walk behind to warn Madame Mo and Mr. Chu Mo in case of an unexpected attack. Having found the cave, the disc directs the light inside. The team stands in front of the entrance while the leader and Chu Mo think about who will go in. Inside the cave, puddles and rocky small elevations can be seen. The leader said that she and Mr. Chu will go downstairs and the guys need to stay outside. The escorts agreed to the leader's decision and stayed behind to guard the cave passage. There is high humidity in the cave. Water drips from sharp stone icicles and energy flows. There is virtually no light in the cave. Leader Mo walks directly behind the guiding light, and Chu Mo is surveying the area. There are streams of life force in the cave. There are shallow, rocky mountains all around. The rocky ground under their feet is crumbled but not collapsing. On the way to the rock, the company encounters no insects, snakes, or bats. The life force goes deep like flowing water. They don't know what to expect from this hike. Guy is pensive and ponders that perhaps the location of the life force is the black stone chalcedony, but is not sure if this is true. The leader of the Jade House joyfully announces that right in front of them is what they were looking for. With joy and excitement, Mrs. Mo opened her mouth. They entered some part of the cave. There was a lot of unknown liquid on the ground. Streams of energy covered the entire room. Small rocks peeked out from underneath the liquid. Nestled between two sharp rock icicles is the black stone of chalcedony, for which the team went on such a life-threatening trek into the mystical realm. The black chalcedony stone looks like a large drop of liquid surrounded by small droplets, with light radiating around it. You can see that this is a very powerful stone. The girl holds out her hand to the stone, explaining that it is a black chalcedony stone, a spiritual treasure that can transcend the boundaries of the body. She is very sweet and tries not to touch the stone until they have looked around the whole place. The leader of the Jade House examines the stone, pleased with her long-awaited find. Chumo counts the total number. A total of 10 chalcedony stones were counted. Mrs. Mo says that without Chu accompanying her, she would not have gotten these black chalcedony stones. As promised, she gives 5 of the stones to Chu. Chu thanks Mrs. Mo, taking her words as a compliment. He believes that 5 stones are enough to increase his current strength by 100,000. He tells Madam about his speculation that the gathering point of the life force is not in the cave, but in the stones themselves. Mrs. Mo interjects questioningly. The young men stand in the liquid and energy currents fly around them. Leader Mo clarifies that chalcedony should grow in the center of the Earth's veins, in the place where the life force gathers. She asks the guy how there can't be a life force gathering point here. The girl agrees that only a small amount of life force is gathered in the black stones of chalcedony, and the rest is unknown. She is very frustrated, causing her to cast her eyes downward. Passing by another wall of the cave, Chumo sensed the remaining source of gathering life energy. He reached out his hand towards it and showed it to the leader. Chu realized that just like the place where the 10,000-year-old spiritual essence was hidden, there was also a place hidden by a natural barrier. Mrs. Mo suggested to go inside the natural barrier because there must be some secret treasures hidden behind it that must be explored. Mrs. Mo and Mr. Chu entered the natural barrier, finding themselves in an unusual room with an energy wind. Nothing could be seen behind the couple's back. The warrior became wary. Chu Mo sensed something and warned Mrs. Mo of the danger. Taking cover from the strong current, the young people try to take cover with their own hands. They don't realize what is happening and can't even look in that direction. The girl peeks out from under her arm. With her green eyes, she tries to see what's going on around her. The vortex of energy is hiding the border source stone behind it, the leader of the Jade House realized. The hurricane is very strong and can't just pass through. Boundary Source Stone. It is a spiritual treasure that can accompany the birth or destruction of a small world, containing the origins of this world, allowing you to realize the change in space. The girl checks with Chu Mo about the spatial talent and says that she saw his spatial movement skill when fighting the golden-winged fox. A strong wind blows around them and prevents them from talking quietly. The guy's hair is being blown around by energy currents. The warrior explains that it's just an incomplete spatial talent he hasn't mastered yet. The leader thought about the fact that space and time talents are legendary supreme talents. Unexpectedly, Chu Mo's talent would be below average. Perhaps it is the ability to have dual skills of transformation and perception. Outside the stone, hurricanes of life force are swirling around to protect it. The closer they get, the stronger they become, and any creature that gets close will be blown to pieces. Only half a meter around the boundary source stone is free from the hurricane. The boundary spring stone must belong to Chu, after all. Without the ability to move spatially, it can't be taken, says Mrs. Mo Shanshan. The stone is hanging in the air. It's very beautiful. Mrs. Mo says that only a person with spatial talent should take the stone, so that they can use it to improve their talents 100%. Madam reiterates that she will give all the secret treasures she finds to Chu. Mistress Chu Mo has penetrated the spatial portal and intends to seize the boundary source stone. The warrior flies through the spatial displacement portal, very confidently, wanting to achieve his goal. Chumo was able to fly through the hurricane of energy wind. The fellow reaches out his hand towards the boundary stone that just hovered in the air. Warrior Chumo was able to grab the boundary stone. It is multifaceted, very large, and shimmers with all colors and flashes. It seems that within it, there is an entire universe. After Chumo took the stone in his hands, he had an epiphany in his head. Chumo was very scared, trying to understand what it all meant. In front of Chumo's eyes, a picture of the head of all sentient beasts standing on a mountain, and around the elevation were his subordinate beasts of almost 5th level. Chu saw an incredibly bright light. Cracks of light occurred around the mountains of the mystic realm. Chu began to ponder over everything happening in this mystic realm. Mrs. Mo Shanshan, standing in the distance. Congratulations to Mr. Chu for obtaining the boundary spring stone. But Chumo is in no mood to cheer. He doesn't know yet what this stone will give him. The fellow tells the secret of the mystic realm. Advancing beasts absorbed a lot of life force, causing cracks to appear in the shell. The beast could only be suppressed violently to the 2nd level. But it was almost impossible to stop it. The girl realized what it meant. The ferocious beasts there are indeed almost level 5. Chu reports that they had best absorb the black chalcedony stone and the boundary source stone now to maximize their power. The man explains, this place is inside the barrier created by the boundary source stone and is not easy to attack. Also, they will face an uphill battle and overcome physical limits, but overcoming the realm is the best way to improve. As he continues, he tells the mistress that this proposal requires them to trust each other a lot. Perfection is usually a solitary endeavor, so Chu feels that he acted presumptuous in thinking that Mo would agree. Mrs. Mo replied that she trusts him and asks him to do as she says. She thinks Chumo is really interesting. Chumo has a lot of skills and experience. The supervisor trusts him, seeing his talents. The young people set about improving their vitality and physical strength. They sat down nearby each other, right in the cave. They decided to undergo such an important cultivation. Upon entering this state, Chumo glowed with bright yellow colors, with small specks and stars all around. This refinement was stronger than the previous ones. The young warrior has finished his refinement and tells the system, calculate his combat performance. Chumo is very serious as this is a very important cultivation. The base strength is 202,701. The physical limit is broken and can be increased to 500,000. Attribute strength 878,650. The physical limit is broken and can be increased to 2 million. Chu realized that the physical limit had been broken. Now the base strength could be increased to 500,000. After strengthening the attributes, even a warlord is no match for Chu. The leader sits on his knees with his head down. It is illuminated with yellow light, just like how Chumo's warrior glowed. He sees that Mo has not yet freed herself, decides to use the stone and see how it will improve his spatial talent. The guy holds the border source stone and doesn't understand how to use it, assumes to activate it with his energy. The warrior did the right thing. Bright rays of light began to fly out of the boundary source stone. The guy looks at what's happening with astonishment. It was as if Warrior Chumo had stepped out of space and into a galactic dimension. So powerful is the cultivation of his essence. That's when the fusion with the stone began. A bright light manifested from the fellow's chest, and his eyes also lit up. It was as if Chumo had stepped out of space and was in the galactic dimension. So powerful was the cultivation of his essence. The member of the Jade House experienced a transformation. His eyes lit up with a cosmic color. The guy is very serious as always. His reincarnations are going well. The young man came to his senses and took a breath from such a powerful reincarnation. He sits leaning on his knee. The warrior feels as if all that starlight has been infused into his body. As Chumo held the treasure in his hands, he began to notice that the multifaceted stone of the boundary source began to gradually collapse. Rapidly, this stone shattered into pieces. After all, right now, all of the energy power of the stone had been completely infused into the body of a top-level young warrior. Chumo wondered what his spatial talent was now. He clutched his chest, and sweat protruded on his face. It was exciting to realize what was affected by the refinement. The screen keeps statistics of the host's attributes. Superior sword-wielding talent, superior spatial talent, spatial perception within a 100-meter radius, space transference. A space is created to be carried, leaving a trace of space on the body. A purple-colored stone is displayed on the guy's hand. He realizes that the expansion of the range of perception and transference was expected. The space transference, on the other hand, piques his interest. Chumo wants to test a new level of spatial transference. A cube is drawn on the palm of his hand, with energy streams flying around it. The warrior examines the spatial imprint. That one glows purple light and makes it clear that the perfection has occurred in full. The guy decides to try to inject spatial energy into the spatial imprint. A purple-colored cube appears around him. It looks very mesmerizing. With the current realm and level of spatial talent, Chu can only infuse a certain amount of spatial energy. The young lad would like to increase the amount, but it might only be possible to do so on the blue star. Nearly 20 cubic meters of space appeared in Chumo's possession. In the future, as the realm and talent increases, this space might also increase, the warrior suggested. The young and beautiful Miss Mo had recovered from her cultivation. She is very happy to have surpassed the physical limit of a warrior. Chumo heard the leader's voice and turned around in her direction. Miss Mo is happy with her transformation. She says that she will be able to ascend another 100,000 jin, and this will allow her to reach the level of a warlord with a physical strength of 300,000 jin. Chumo walks over to congratulate the leader on improving her strength, but the leader of the Jade House was startled, not expecting that Chumo had already vacated. Chumo explains that he woke up from meditation a little earlier than Madame Mo, and has been here the whole time. She says that she didn't notice his presence. Mo Shanshan was probably too much into perfecting herself. The girl is very sweet. She explains that even now she feels like there is an ethereal atmosphere emanating from Chumo. And if he hadn't spoken to her, she wouldn't have reacted. Warrior Chumo suggests that this is due to the fusion with the Source Stone. This stone has the same origin as the Secret Realm. And now Chumo has the aura of the Secret Mystic Realm. Lady Mo listened carefully and pondered over what this could mean and how it could be used in the future. Suddenly, Warrior Chumo and the leader of the Jade House, Madame Mo Shanshan, heard some sounds and realized that something was happening at the edge of the cave where the team of attendants were standing. The attendants who were standing outside the cave were attacked by intelligent, ferocious beasts that looked like wolves and humans. The men began a fierce battle with their opponents. During the fierce battle, one of the attendants was unable to escape the attack of the ravenous, intelligent beast. It was able to do damage to the man's arm. The young man cried out in pain. The second attendant approaches his colleague and asks how the wounded guard feels. Right in front of the men, the shadow of a ferocious beast appeared, of unbelievable size. The attendant in the green hat notices the ferocious beast and turns to look that way. He's wary and hopes it's not a ferocious beast. The intelligent beast of prey has launched an attack on the attendants. It's twice as tall and bigger than the humans. On the face of the healthy guard reads terror, foreshadowing the imminent death of the two unfortunate men. The attendant tries to drag the wounded man away as quickly as possible. A hand, with long fangs, reaches out toward the men. The intelligent beast has no plans to be ceremonious with the attendants and wants to catch the defenseless men as soon as possible. While the humanoid wolf seeks to attack the guards, the impossibly swiftly and deftly warrior Chumo arrives and summons the sky-shattering blade. It strikes the beast's arm. The attendants had no hope of escape. The injured man tried to flee from the beast, and he didn't even immediately notice that Chumo's entourage had rushed over for this unequal battle. Chu interceded for the attendants. He was just in time, for death awaited the men. Intelligent beasts are very strong. Ordinary people can't harm them. The young men notice that Chu has become stronger. They are happy that he has returned. The guy's goal is to protect all the participants of the trek to the mystical realm. He intends to deal a crushing blow to the predator, hoping for a quick victory so that he can leave the realm as soon as possible. This beast also happens to be intelligent. The ferocious predator looks like a wolf. It tries to push away the warrior's sword in order to defend itself and further attack. This time, Chumo had the strength to inflict final damage on the beast. Slash the beast into two pieces. From the warrior's serious face, one could see how tense he was. It was likely that while Mr. Chumo was dealing with this enemy, his companions came to his aid. The warrior hears the approaching danger. One by one, ferocious beasts attack the young warrior. He is ready to deal with each one. The intelligent beasts wish to overpower the warrior by attacking him from both sides at the same time. The ferocious predator tries to strike, but the Chumo warrior disappears into the purple-colored spatial portal, and the beast did not have time to grab the warrior. Once in the area of the tree tower, the top-level warrior peeks out from the portal. Chumo sees that the beasts are standing below, waiting to attack the member of the Luyang-based Jade House. The fellow is very strong. He is trying to crush all the beasts with his refined attributes. His face shows that he is very angry and even angry. Thanks to his superior attribute talents, the young warrior boldly and without much difficulty crushed all the intelligent, ferocious beasts of almost fifth level. The beasts were surrounded by streams of energy of the sky-breaking blade. They could not escape. Chu wondered how strong the original body master was. He remembered hearing Miss Mo say that he was the strongest warrior in the world, but the current master of this body thought that was an exaggeration. The leader is enjoying Chu Mo's superiority. With every battle, the young warrior is getting stronger and stronger. The girl admires his terrifying potential. Another beast has come to battle the humans. He seems bigger and stronger than the previous fierce, intelligent beasts. There are 3 sharp claws on its paw, and muscles can be seen closer to its thigh. Chu Mo heard his opponent approaching him. The young warrior set himself up for another victory. The ferocious beast is similar to the human form. It wears a cloth like a wild tribe, and its eyes glow with a bright purple color. There are many muscles on its body. This intelligent beast can talk, and it tells Chu Mo to give it the key that the king is asking it for.